free that if you don't stand up, you aren't a free person. And goddamn it, boy, if you don't stand up right now, you ain't free. Because you have the freedom to do whatever you want. But I'm telling you, I have the freedom to make you feel bad for doing the freedom. Just get up and say you love it. Just get up right now, Copernic. God damn it. It's so free that you can't do it. You have to. It's free because there's only one way to be. That's why it's free. So be that. Damn you. They don't have anything to live. I mean, their kids hate them. They don't have, all their money got stolen by banksters and shit. Healthcare's running through the fucking roof.
How many times have you gone into work and then looked at your boss and said, what are they doing? You ever think about the levels at a job, Brett? Of course, the people on the very bottom. What do?
Usually clean.
Yeah, and then there is the people just above them. They're the ones that do the second hardest job at the place, right?
Deal with customers?
Yeah, that sort of thing. And then there's another level above that, and that's the manager that's in the place. Now let's think about what comes after that, right? You might have a guy named like Glenn that comes to your office every 6 months, and you have to lay out the red carpet for Glenn. Think about what the person above Glenn does. Jerry is the person above Glenn, right?
Okay.
His job is basically going to lunch, right?
Yeah, powerful meetings, shaking hands real hard.
We're gonna go up to the CEO now. The people that sit around a table and who knows what they're doing? Nobody knows what they talk about.
Playing cards.
What connection does that person have to what you do and what the customer gets? It just seems like you could really chop like 5 or 6 levels off of any job and the company would still run perfectly.
Think about your job. Now imagine your manager isn't there. How much smoother would your day run?
I mean, how many of you work a job where you don't even know who the fucking CEO is of the company? That means they're absolutely useless. They're parasites.
They're on the top, getting most of the money, sending their kids to private school, driving the fanciest cars, and they can't make a sandwich. Every new level of hierarchy is more money coming out of your paycheck. Unions are fucking great because it's not HR.
You need solidarity with the other workers. We need to use that and exercise that. You and your other workers are the most important people at that company. I mean, hell, the way I think about it, maybe you don't get a union at all and you just take the whole company away from the bosses, and that's called a co-op.
For the almighty dollar, everyone's a slave. Cause what's the point of doing shit if you ain't getting paid?
I mean, I tell you what, even the jobs that paid me nothing, like when I was first learning them, it was like, all right, I can do this. You just need somebody to get the plates and make them go from here to here. I can be the master of that. I was really into that, and I can do that. But after a while, it's like, you guys treat me like shit, and I get the plates from here to here every fucking time, and you talk down to me and shit. What's going on?
Jesus,
you're counting my lunches. Like, you're looking at what I'm eating. You're, like, figuring out when I'm going out to smoke. Like, all of a sudden, you're in my shit. But all you said you wanted from me was the plates to go from here to here, and I'm getting the plates from here to here.
God, that was the most accurate representation of how I feel when I get a job. At first, I'm helpless. I'm a little baby. I'm sucking off the tea to the manager to tell me what I need to do. You know, I don't want to, my wings aren't fully formed yet. And then once I learn what I'm doing, I'm like, y'all could treat me a lot better for this. I deserve a lot more for this.
Wow, this is some bullshit right here. Now that you kicked me out of the nest and I'm flying through the sky and trying to flap my wings here, I don't think you're giving me enough.
I don't like this
You
at
didn't
all.
set me up right.
Before we commence expelling this ghost from this location, before we save Jake from the lock, I will light the ceremonial herb that will give us the sight, that will give us the power we need to set Jake free. My Twitter's not working out here. Let's see if you can get a ghost. Go ahead and try. I summon the ghost into ghostly ghostness. Come the fuck out if you're a real ghost. Now. Demand it. This is how we fucking hunt ghosts.
And as we've pointed out, and as we've said, there are no ghosts.
So this is where the ghost lives, from what we know. And he's not home. Let me see. Let me try this. Jake, you may overtake my body. I accept you into my heart and soul. Please, if you are here, take control.
Hey everybody, welcome to Street Fight Radio. Glad you're here. It's the call-in show. You can watch along if you want by going to the live stream on Facebook, Twitch, or Twitter. We're at twitch.tv/Street Fight Radio, where we have some very special emoticons. We have the Brian Yuck emoji on there. We're going to add some of the That's a Capitalism audio and other stuff from the show. So if you want to go hang with the gang, act orangutan, do it over on twitch.tv/Street Fight Radio. Otherwise, it's in the chat. Everybody can see what's going on. I always like to see what everybody's saying and how they're feeling about the show. This is Street Fight Radio, the #1 anarcho-comedy radio show on any station across the nation. And tonight we're taking calls. The number to dial is 614-655-3887. We do this every single Sunday. And we want to hear about your bad bosses, your evil landlords, and anything else that might interest us. We have been in the game for 9 years now, the #1 anarcho-comedy radio show on any station across the nation. And are going bigger and better than ever, spreading this mess across the U.S. Still blessed with its success, and thank you to everybody that listens and supports what we do. I hope you enjoyed the live stream I did of my buddy Bryceus, aka Wavy. He is painting our new background for the Means TV show, and shit looks amazing. Follow on Instagram. I'll be doing some live streams over there tomorrow. He's going to finish it up. And we're doing a fundraiser that we'll be launching this week. Wavy put together some masks and t-shirts to raise some money for the Ohio Arts Coalition, who helped him out, and he wants to give back. If you want to get it before the official drop, just head to store.streetfightradio.com, where you can get your pre-order in right now. Patreon people, though, you're going to get a discount code of 20%, so maybe wait for that. How's it going, Brian?
It's good to be back in the studio.
Yeah.
I did fuck it up last week, but I'm back. I'm in the room with Brett. Right before we got started, I was telling him I'm full of vim and vigor and also vinegar, actually, both. Not really vinegar. I hadn't had vinegar in quite a while.
I could never see you eating vinegar.
I like it. I mean, what like you put it on the French fries? The British people call it the chips,
Yeah.
fish and chips. Yeah.
It's wonderful.
Locked out of everything right now.
You are.
Well, I'm not locked out of Facebook, but I deleted it off my phone, so I had no social networking today at all.
Do you mean-
100% free of it.
Just because Twitter was, you're locked
Twitter
out of
wouldn't
Twitter.
let me, and
Yeah.
I was just like, I'm not. I deleted Facebook off my phone because it was stressing me out.
That's
and
good
just
reason.
Making me feel bad.
It's a good
Because
reason.
I could just open it up, and instant bad feelings. I decided, you know what? It's not good to have a thing that you just open up and give you instantly bad feelings. I didn't delete my account.
Yeah.
Which I think is, I'm trying to decide if that's a dickhead thing for me to have done, because like it gives people the impression that I'm there and that I'm not answering them, you know? But I'm not there at all. I'm just not there, but I'm not deleting it. I'm
Yeah,
keeping
maybe-
it, but I'm not there at all.
Yeah, I don't know how that works. Maybe delete, turn off. I don't know if you can turn off messaging from people you aren't friends with, or
I might
just get rid of it. You don't have. It's not like you have baby pictures on there.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably stuff on there that I'd like to have, but that I guess I could go get too, if I wanted. Just pictures of Gwen from when she was real little and shit.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay. So
But
there is actual baby pictures on there.
and I like the time hop shit a lot of times. Just seeing some shit like just when we were like real excited to be doing live shows because we were getting big audiences. A lot of good pictures of those. You know?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I like that too. I've stopped posting so much like now that I keep thinking like in 5 years though I need to get some more kid pictures on here so that way I have something to look forward to.
Yeah.
Instead of just angry shit posting.
Yeah. So I'm not on Facebook, but then I got up today and my Twitter was like logged out on all my devices. And I was like, that's fucking weird. So I went to log in and none of my passwords worked. And I was like, all right, so I got to reset my password. And when I went to reset the password, it was a whole different email address of something I didn't recognize at all. So now I sent them a ticket, but now I got all this business to attend to this week. Really, usually when I say, oh, I have a bunch of business to attend to for street fight stuff, I'm lying. I don't have any business to attend to. But this week just happens to be a week where I have some business that I have to get done, some stuff. So now I feel like I'm having to dictate DMs to Brett and be like, sir, Brian has requested that I get a hold of you and on his behalf, you know? Because I'm doing a guest spot on, we're doing guest spots on 2 shows this week. I'm doing a guest spot on one, me and you were together doing one on Wednesday.
Oh yeah.
You know, I just said we're going to be on the Go Off Kings Wednesday. And I can't get a hold of Jesse or anything. I can't see if he's messaging me, so I'm going to have Brett get a hold of him too. And then also the other show I'm doing, I can't get a hold of them. They wanted me to retweet something. I was going to retweet it, but I can't because I can't tweet. So no Twitter, no Facebook. What I have spent the day doing on my phone is Google Cards again. You guys know how much I love Google Cards.
Oh yeah, those are just game changer in the news business.
Fans of the show will know that I love Google Cards. It gets me acquainted with what's going on in fields that I care about. And just show you, so I'll read you some of the headlines that I've read today, Brett. I think you'll like them.
Okay.
I think these are things, first of all, there is the Wizard of Za, who is a fella who is, he is a guy in Columbus who has an Instagram where he posts pictures of pizza, and people just fucking started message him and saying, can I get some of that pizza? Now he's got this long list of like thousands of people because like John C. Reilly ate his pizza, fucking Buckeyes ate his pizza, Blue Jackets ate his pizza. This guy is big into the pizza, right? And he's thinking about opening up a restaurant, but I don't think by the end of the article they'd explained if he was opening a brick and mortar location. So that's another thing. I got to get on Instagram to get this guy's pizza, which sounds delicious to me.
He's a local guy
He's a Columbus guy, yeah.
and is now probably going to get in trouble with the federal government for running an illegal restaurant out of his house.
Oh, that could be true. Well, he was only in This Week magazine.
Okay.
He wasn't in the Columbus Dispatch.
How did John C. Riley end up with the pizza?
I guess he was coming through town and he was like, hey, can I get one of these pizzas off of an Instagram? I don't know how John C. Riley got his hands on the pizza, to tell you the truth.
I have seen lots of people that just say like, hey, I do catering and make food and we have all this today and you can buy it off Instagram.
Yeah.
It's certainly not a new thing.
So that was a neat thing I read today. But then I also read why Charlie Hunnam doesn't have kids. Just too career focused, really. He's the guy from Sons of Anarchy. He played Jax on Sons of Anarchy.
Oh, yeah.
I read the top Marvel characters that the lead from Hamilton could play. These are all things that come to me. These are like tailored to my interests.
Stuff you love.
Yeah, Columbus Bar gets 15-day liquor license suspension for COVID violation.
Wow.
Yeah, but it wasn't just one. It was actually a bunch of them got hit.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. I don't know what... it looks like Park Street Cantina, which me and you are like, close it. I don't care.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well...
That's one of those bars that's like, who needs it? Well, the people that are going there that get it are like the kind of people you want to get it.
Well, yeah. Also, I mean, you just want to have a place where like raggedy, horrible people can go. Like, if you close down the sleazebag like clubs, they're just gonna come to like our places to drink.
Yeah,
and
we
don't
don't
want them
at
there.
those places right now. But I guess like when this is all over,
Yeah, in the future, you want to have a place where they can segregate themselves away from us
Park
and go spit aggressively on the ground and try to get in fights with people looking at their girls.
True. Park Street Cantina, located at 491 Park Street across from the North Market and listed by the state under the license names I Love This Bar, LLC.
Uh-oh. It's coming?
That's what they're listed at.
It's not
in Ohio. Their liquor license is under I Love This Bar, LLC.
Oh, they got it before Toby Keith, apparently.
I guess, man. Or Toby Keith doesn't have nothing in Ohio.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
So there's that. That happened. That's interesting to me. I mean, campus is just... I just read the first... That was another one of the cards that... Because I read about COVID way more than I do any other news. Because in comic book movies, which I don't actually care that much about, I just read about them, right? Like, I watched the new Batman movies trailer.
Uh-huh.
It's dark.
Oh, no, really?
This is like a dark... It's kind of a dark take on Batman, you know?
Gritty?
It's a little gritty. It looks like if Batman was happening in like the real world. Like it's one of those takes of like a more realistic take on Batman. He's dark and he's violent.
There's no glossy sheen of the page to cover up the violence inside the movie.
No.
In the real world.
No. You know who's in it though? That I said I'm never gonna go see another Batman movie.
Ben Affleck?
No, the new Batman's Robert Pattinson.
Oh, that's a good Batman.
He's good. I said I will never see another Batman movie until they put the Penguin in it. Russell Crowe's playing the Penguin.
Russell Crowe?
The Penguin's in it. So now I'm like, I didn't even get to skip one.
Yeah.
You know, I've seen them all. I made a bold declaration that I thought would pay off for sure. And now I gotta fucking go see this one. Because the Penguin rules.
Oh, yeah,
He's
Penguin's
my
great.
guy. You know?
Yeah.
It's like he's a big fat guy.
Cobblepot,
mean,
whatever
you know?
his name
yeah,
is.
He's just a big, mean, fat guy.
And does that thing. It has the flipper hands.
I don't think he has the flipper
No flipper hands?
I don't think the real Penguin does.
I
think that was a movie thing. I think it was a Tim Burton thing.
Okay.
I don't know for sure. I think the Penguin's just a gangster that is like really into Penguin style. Which
and
I
umbrellas. He hypnotizes people with umbrellas too.
That's what I like about him. That's what I
Hypnotizing?
like. Well, I just like a cool fucking, you know, like I do like a villain that's like an over the top, like he's kind of funny, you know, like because the Penguin can never whip somebody's ass. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? He's just like kind of like Danny DeVito played him, and Russell Crowe looks huge playing him. He's like big. He's giving speeches, so that's exciting to me.
Okay.
But yeah, that was most of the news. I read the worst news today. I just got to tell you, man. One thing was like Keanu Reeves got tricked into doing a movie called The Watcher, and I read a whole article about it. And I'm reading paragraph after paragraph describing. I don't even know what they were describing. It was basically like this article was Keanu Reeves got tricked into doing a movie. So I was like, oh, that's interesting. I'll read that because I don't have Twitter right now. I don't have anything else to read. I'm scrolling through. I read like 6 paragraphs, dude. They still haven't explained what the movie is, right? Okay? So I'm 6 paragraphs in, and then a header comes up in bold and says, who is Keanu Reeves? And it's another 6 paragraphs about who he fucking is. Like, apparently, I am a Keanu Reeves fan because Google gives me all the news fit to print about Keanu Reeves.
You're John Wick, right?
Yeah, I love John Wick, yeah. Any John Wick information. But yeah, it's just so weird to see what Google thinks you're interested in, you know? It's like, it's coronavirus that I'm really into, Better Call Saul, and politics, and guys in prison. There's like a lot of guys, like these 3 guys got 505 years in prison. And they're looking over their case. But yeah, it's very weird.
Colin Farrell is the Penguin, not Russell Crowe.
Oh, I love Colin Farrell though too. I thought that was Russell Crowe.
You got
when
me
I saw it.
excited for Russell Crowe Penguin.
You don't like Colin Farrell though? He's
Nah.
cool. Have you ever seen that movie with him?
They're all...
Oh no, you ain't seen The Nice Guys then. Nice Guys' best movie.
Oh, that stupid 70s drug thing.
It's not. I don't know if it's a 70s movie. I'm not 100%.
Then they fake
sure.
mustaches and shit, and it's like all burnt orange
It's got
color.
Ryan Gosling in
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Ugh.
Don't want to see it.
One of the best dude movies ever made. It's a real dude. It's for dudes and dudes who like to be dudes.
Sure.
Macho dudes.
Guys for guys who like movies for guys who like movies.
Oh, I watch that every week, dude. I didn't watch it. I would check to see what's on it and rent the movie because I hate Yippee-ki-yay, Mr. Falcon. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not into that, you know? It's been a weird... It's just been so weird. I barely left my house over that week that we didn't do the show here, other than to take my walks. And then I started watching... So I started watching, like, this series on Netflix about video games. You know?
Like
Just
what
the
they are?
history of video games. But they had the episode we watched last night was about the Nintendo game counselors.
what was? Oh, where you would call and get tips?
Yeah, but it was told from the Nintendo game counselor's perspective, like a guy that did it for a living. Like he got the job because he won. In 1990, they had a tournament for Nintendo, right? And this motherfucker won championship for the whole country, and then they never did the tournament again, which is tight. He's like the champion.
Yeah,
forever.
he's the best in Nintendo, undisputed.
But then he ended up getting a job at the. He cheated on the test, and he got a job as a game counselor. He taped the answers to the questions inside a pair of sunglasses, and then put them down in front of him, and read the answers and took the test. This is what he says. He said it.
That sounds like a cool movie from the 80s.
And he was a Nintendo game counselor. And like you just basically just sat there and played video games all day. And it sounded terrible. They were like, sometimes, you take 60 to 70 calls a day. And it's like, can you imagine the phone calls that came in at the Nintendo like the guy described one thing. They didn't get enough into like the weeds about what it was like to work there, but he did describe like there was this one game. He's like, people would call you and they'd be like, okay, I'm at the part of the game with the gray blocks and I'm in the bottom right hand corner.
Yeah.
And then you're fucking sitting there like,
right, what are you supposed to do? Play for 2 hours to get to that part so you can play along with them?
what it isn't?
So you're doing customer service for every game, basically.
It was every game. They had a big binder that had all the maps for all the games. Thing is, they didn't give you that fucking binder. That was crowdsourced by the people that worked at the Nintendo place, had to draw out the maps. They had to make their own maps and shit. Seems like a terrible job now when you think about it.
I'm trying to get my guy on the thingy. Well,
Yep.
Sir, what thingy? The damn thingy!
You ever died like 60 times on a game and just
So mad you pick up the phone?
I just know how I felt a lot of times playing games when I had like a lot of hormones coursing through my veins and also was frustrated and also was like, oh my God. We used to play with Jason. We used to play video games. I was actually talking to my younger brother about this last night. He's like, I never got to play. And I was like, yeah, I agree. You never got to play because it's survival of the fittest in that house. And it was like, what would happen is Jason would die. And then that motherfucker, Jason would die, right? And then he'd be like, I get to play again because you talked while I was playing. Even though like the TV was on and everything else was going, it's like, why is the talking the thing that makes you fucking get to play again? So he would get to play 5 guys in a row, and then I'd get to play 1, and of course die in like 2 seconds, and then have to hand over the I hated playing video. But then when you got it on your own, if you get stuck somewhere, like when you're an adult. When you get stuck on a video game, walk away. You just walk away. You never play it again. You say like, I'll come back maybe, but you never do.
Yeah.
You never come back. You just quit and walk away. When you're a kid, that's just like not an option at all.
You're stuck with the game. This is the one game you got.
Yeah. So it's pretty funny. I really wish we could somehow get a Nintendo game counselor to call in so you could ask them all of like, because that might be one of them, because I did tech support over the phone for an internet service provider, and that I did it for a year, for 13 months. I counted the
unlucky
days, and it just was like the worst job it was really a frustrating job to have, because you are like really dragging people through their computer to parts of their computer they don't even know exist. They don't know how to double click. They say mash instead of click, which I always thought was like just incredibly. I hated it then because if somebody said, "So do I just mash on that?" and it's like, "Do I mash on the trash can?" and I'd be like, "Just throw your computer away."
Mash?
Yeah, because this was at the beginning of the home computer boom in the 90s when it was like everybody got one.
Yeah.
We were all gonna have them. And this was when it had expanded, but these were people that never touched anything, right? And they were the adult in the house, not the kid.
Yeah.
And they were furious because it wasn't plug and play, because computers just aren't that.
Yeah.
And they instead of click, they would say mash, and it would drive me up the fucking wall. And they would also like
right mash.
Yeah, you would ask them to read what's in a box, and they would read everything on the screen. It was really one of the worst experiences of my life doing that job. It was so hard.
You mean like they'd say file, open, print, just like read the bar across the top, any start at the top left and read it like a book?
Yes. Or like they'd read the top of the browser. You'd be like, what does it say where it says phone number? And they would like read the top of the browser, and then like file. They just read the whole thing.
Yeah.
And the other thing that made me the other thing that was crazy, because it made the meanest customers you could ever possibly have, was that this was dial-up internet. And most of them only had one phone line. So it was really about like trying something and then hanging up to see if it works. And then they have to call back if it didn't work. And like,
they're getting madder each time.
Oh, dude, the 5th call is just like, I called 4 times. I talked to Billy, Vanessa, Charlie, and just start naming everybody's names, and you're like, I don't fucking know, man. I don't know what's wrong with it. Here, I'm gonna bump you up to tier 2.
Yeah.
And I always felt bad for the tier 2 people, because there wasn't a tier 3. It was just
buck stops there.
And they were always like, Brian, you should go up to tier 2. I'm like, I don't want to go.
Yeah.
Like, I want somebody
to send it. Yeah.
Transfer to. Like, I just want to be able to get rid of them if I can. And, you know, that's where I learned about this is unacceptable. That was the job.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
like, there were so many of that. So, not a fun job. Not tech support over the phone is one of the worst jobs you can get. I mean, it's nice to be indoors, I guess.
Yeah. Phones are so draining. It's just a weird way that, like, you don't understand. People think it, like, I've worked in warehouses and call centers, and I say they're like neck and neck, because being on the phone, like you said, 60 calls a day, easy. You're talking to 60 people that all have a problem. They're not calling because they love the service. They're calling because they have a fucking problem.
Yeah.
Like I did customer service, and there was people that were not happy with us, and you're navigating that all day long, and it takes resources. It takes emotional energy and resources to navigate that stuff, and not like get mad at them back or let them, like rile you up or.
Yeah, they'll bum you out, dude. I mean, I can see where that's the phone jobs, especially like high pressure, like when you start talking about like working at a bank or something or collections. It's like, I can't imagine there's not a ton of PTSD.
I burned out of it for sure.
Yeah.
I was pretty good at it talking, but I couldn't do it all day long. It was because you would always be like, every call was like, oh, my life is miserable right now. This is going on. And you're like, all right, well, what can we work with,
Yeah.
And I'm like trying to be somebody's friend. Like, can you get me $25 today? And I can't do that. Like it's too draining.
No, I absolutely couldn't do that.
I care about how my emotional energy is spent. I care about where it goes.
I do too. Well, we haven't talked to the listeners in a couple weeks, Brad.
It's been a while, yeah.
And
it's been a while.
Think it would be probably like a good idea to check in and see. I think I figured out how I got hacked. Sorry. Spotify.
Oh, on
Seems
that,
like somebody got through Spotify.
Is it that fucking thing that checks your that Twitter thing that tells you what albums you've been listening to? Did you do that? No. Were you saying something, or were you gonna take calls, or did you actually have something? I don't know what you're saying.
I don't have anything. Take calls.
Oh, you were like leading up to something.
No, I just said we didn't take calls, and it is it's a good time to take some calls. I'd love to hear from the listeners.
Okay.
Let's take some calls.
Thanks for calling Street Fight. Who are we talking to tonight?
Whoa, is that me?
It is you. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm great. I feel a lot better being back in the studio. What's up tonight? Who's this?
This is Krills Wilson, up in Michigan.
All right. Well, what's going on this week?
Let's see. This has been an exciting week because Monday we got a knock on our door from the police.
What?
And they wanted to talk to us about our tickets.
What tickets?
We've got yeah, we've got 5 chickens. We just got them this year, and we're raising them. Hopefully, they're going to lay eggs soon. That's if we can keep them.
Yeah, I thought you said tickets, but because I got arrested by a guy in sweatpants one time over tickets. But chickens are a smart idea if you're buying eggs regularly. Not harmful, I don't think. What exactly is the problem?
We misread the laws and they're illegal.
Oh.
And I guess some of our girls have been making excursions. They're like, we clip their wings. It's nice. It's fine. It doesn't hurt and whatever. But they can still get up about 3 or 4 feet. So the little fence that I built when we moved in here out of pallets is not sufficient. So they're hopping out and jumping and running around town and getting the cops called on us.
Ah, geez. So what did the cops say? What are the cops up to?
Well, my partner talked to him, and he seemed, I guess, like he was sympathetic to the, self-reliance aspect of having kids. So he was like, just take as long as you need to, take care of it. Otherwise, it's a misdemeanor. So I'm sort of like, how long do I need? Can I wait until they grow old? And can I get a few dozen eggs from them first? Or what's the deal here?
A misdemeanor, though, could almost be nothing, right? Like, could you... I mean, I guess if they made this decision to fine you every day, that would be a huge issue. But if it's just a misdemeanor,
That would be enough.
yeah. But if it's just like, if they were just like, we're gonna find you a couple $100, and then there's not really anything we can do after that. Maybe that's like a tax for having chickens. Like you're not allowed to have them at all. And are you in the city or are you in the country?
We're in one of those towns that calls itself a city.
Okay. So you should be allowed.
We've got half an acre. Yeah. So the next part of the saga is that my partner immediately started calling city council and emailing city council, and she's now talking to the mayor pro tem or whatever in our town, and she's bringing up the examples of what's going on. Apparently there was a major food spoilage in Iowa, and a bunch of animal feed has gone bad and they can't use it. And of course California is fucking on fire again. So there's a lot of reasons not to trust that we're going to have eggs and food available. So people should be allowed to have chickens, and they should be allowed to fucking farm their front yards, honestly, because grass sucks.
I agree with you. I think people should be allowed to have chickens no matter, for any reason at all. I think you should be allowed to have a chicken as a pet. Just walk around with it on a leash. I don't care. I mean, I think it's your neighbors calling the police, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so that's what I spent this week doing is building a fence.
Yeah.
So I'm building a big damn fence, and it doesn't feel very socialist. It feels kind of crappy in that sense, but I'm kind of well, whatever. It's for your protection. You don't want the chicken coming around. I'll just build a big fence, and we won't see each other.
Yeah, I mean that seems like the thing to do.
At home.
Yeah, you're hiding.
Yeah,
you gotta hide your backyard, is what it sounds like to me. It sounds like the best course of action is to just make it so those chickens can't be seen by anybody.
Well, we've got this sweet little old lady who lives behind us in one of the houses, and she loves the chickens. So when I was building the fence, I was like, Shirley, do you want me to build the fence all the way across your yard too? Because, that'll keep the chickens from hopping over your fence to eat your mulberries. And she said, no, I want to see them. So we're keeping her fence open because she likes to see the chickens.
This rocks to me because it's like an Andy Griffith type problem. He's like, Shirley doesn't want the chickens to eat her mulberries, but then somebody else in the town is worried about the chickens, and
they're going to peck my children.
That is what it is. And they're probably worried about their kids, is what I would think.
I meet adults sometimes that are around Gumball, and they kind of just stick to the wall. There's grown people that have an unhealthy fear of certain animals. And chicken is one. I mean, they're very stupid and dinosaur-like and pretty unpredictable, and then also have razor sharp. Yeah, but also the razor sharp claws too.
Oh, what are they gonna do though? Really?
Slit your throat? Fly up?
Oh, get out of here! That's alarmist talk. That's being a little alarmist.
Yeah, they will.
Brett.
They'll scratch you. They'll scratch you every once in a while, but most chickens won't.
The first time Brian got scratched by a chicken, he'd get an ordinance against him.
I'd eat it. You scratch me, I eat you. That's the deal.
We'd be on the other. Yeah, I am open to eating these chickens someday, but we're not in a rush. I want to get eggs.
Don't name them.
They're better for me as eggs.
Yeah,
they are named. In fact, my daughter named one of them her own name. So, because she's 3. So we were like, what do you want to name it? She was like, Jimmy the chicken. I was like, oh, okay. I guess I'm not eating that one.
His name's Jimmy?
No.
Junie.
Oh, I thought it was gonna be like a Jimmy's Chicken Shack reference. I like that. So
Yeah, she's 3. She hasn't heard Jimmy's Chicken
God.
Shack yet.
you don't know that.
Okay.
You don't know that at all. We could be talking to the biggest Jimmy's Chicken Shack fan in the world.
Fuck. I can't believe we forgot about that.
I need to remember what their song was. I remember I liked this Jimmy's Chicken Shack song, but I don't remember what it was.
Is it
Shit.
bouncing off the walls again?
No, it was a big one.
Who's on?
Yeah. Probably.
Was it high?
I don't
Get
It's high.
really remember
It's
anything
high.
about it.
It is high.
How do you get high? High.
I don't know it.
Yeah.
I know it, but don't.
I don't remember.
Let's get a taste. I'm gonna wait for this ad.
I don't think we can play it.
They'll just make it. They just take the audio out.
Oh. No, I'm saying I don't think anybody can hear it anyway
Oh.
if we play it. So it doesn't matter. It's fine. We don't have to hear it. Well, good luck with your chickens is what I'm going to say to this.
Thanks.
And if there's anything we can do to help, testify to city council, I would love to drive up to Michigan and testify to city council. You're a good person and you deserve to have free eggs.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Get a hold of me on
appreciate
Twitter.
that. That'll work.
All right. Have a good night.
Have a good night.
Brett.
Is this it?
He's listening. Brett's listening to Jimmy's Chicken Shack out
Where's the
loud.
vocals?
I don't like it. I don't like it.
Yeah. Yeah, forgot about that one. We did the new metal podcast this week with John from the POD cast, and it knocked loose so many songs that I hadn't heard in forever, but somehow knew immediately.
Children of the Corn being the what we probably talked for Children of Corn's impact. We probably gave it more airtime than it deserved, but it is like a really great fucking song to talk about. Like
Yeah.
it encapsulates everything.
Yeah, it
about
really
Korn.
does. Yeah, you're right.
About the whole time. So, yeah. It's just Let's get another one in. Let's get another call in here. Chickens. What do you think about having chickens? You gonna get some?
My Erica wanted them forever. I feel like I'm too irresponsible, but maybe. I mean, I don't know. It seems fun. We did have there was an actual like hen house at the old place, but we never used it. Columbus, you're allowed to have chickens and gardens in your front yard.
Do you have a cow?
I don't know.
Doesn't feel illegal to me. It does not. I don't get illegal vibes from having, because that's like the safest animal you can have.
Is it?
I believe it is. Yes. Now, this isn't something that's well researched or read or looked at or anything. I don't think cows do shit to people. And you can get some beef out of them. Now, they don't lay eggs.
Right.
That's why you probably don't want to have a cow in your yard. That's the only reason people don't have cows
Because they don't lay
in
eggs.
your yards, because they don't lay eggs. What's the point, What are you going to do with the cow shit? Build a house? That's what they used. That's what they used to build houses out in Oklahoma.
Really?
Dried up cow shit, yeah, out in the
Sure.
on the Western Trail.
Uh-huh.
Some people would just stop and build a house out of cow shit. I'm fucking sick. You're looking at me like I'm wrong. That's true.
Oh, really?
That's true.
That's shocking.
I'm gonna look. It's not even fucking shocking. It's history. Probably somebody in chat right now is making fun of you for thinking they didn't build houses out of cow shit.
All right. Let's see who our next caller is. Thanks for calling Street Fight. Who are we talking to tonight?
Hey, what's up, Street Fight? It's Jonathan.
What's up, Jonathan? How's it going tonight?
Good. I have no opinions on the chickens, but I seem to recall that the Children of the Corn song had Ice Cube in it.
It does, yeah. And it starts out with the words,
Right,
attention
yeah.
all parents.
It's on like a megaphone.
It rocks. So I'm looking at pictures of houses made out of cow dung, just to let everybody know. I don't mean to cut you out there, but yeah, that was a good song. It's good. I mean, Ice Cube doesn't do much in it, He raps, And it's a pretty sex positive rap. I remember. It's not like homophobic, it's sex positive.
He kind of punctuates it.
Yeah.
He kind of punctuates it.
Yeah. That's a Jonathan Davis tour de force. What's going on tonight?
Well, that depends what you fellas want to hear about. We can talk about what's going on with the university system out here in California. We can talk about science. We can talk about whatever you want.
What's the university? I'm curious about the university system since the state's also on fire, and also there's a pandemic.
Yeah, so I can see those fires where I'm at.
Oh, okay.
They're nowhere near me, but because the smoke are so big, you can see them for forever.
Okay.
But yeah, so I work in the California State University system. I'm a professor at one of the Cal States, and so we are looking at layoffs starting sometime in the near future here.
Is that something?
And so
is that COVID related?
Presumably. Well, see, the thing is here, the Cal State University system is kind of the one that maybe you never heard of, because the UCs are kind of the big ones, but the Cal States are smaller undergraduate-only schools. So I think not a lot of people kind of outside California know about them.
Oh, I've heard of Cal State.
But yeah. So Cal State, it's like 30 to 31,000 faculty members, and so it's a tremendous number of people. And we're looking like some people are going to start losing their jobs here pretty soon.
I mean, what would I can't assume that enrollment's down because of COVID. I mean, people are still going to school. Ohio State campus looks just as full as ever.
No, so everything's remote, and like from my perspective, all of our enrollments are kind of at their normal levels, if not a little bigger. So it's really unclear why they need this kind of austerity, especially since they have the California State University system has like $1.5 billion in cash reserves.
Well, what I think probably is, and you've seen this in a lot, I think, of industries, is that they're using, so even if coronavirus hasn't sort of affected the money of a thing, a lot of places are still saying, like, we got to tighten our belt because of, and then the inference is that, like, it's coronavirus. You're supposed to think, like, well, because they'll say something like, everybody's tightening their belt right now. We just have to do it too. And it's like, well, you don't have to fucking do it. If your business isn't hurting, you don't have to do that, actually.
No, I think a lot of people are going to school nowadays because they're kind of stuck at home. It's kind of something to do. You can move towards a degree, and if you do it with loans, you kind of don't even got to pay for it right now.
That rules.
So there's kind of no reason not to do it. But yeah, they want the workers. They want the cuts to come out of the workers rather than dipping into their cash reserves, and so we have to push back on it for sure.
Yeah, I don't understand this idea. That's this is way different than California, but WWE Wrestling laid off a fuckload of their workers, and not just in-ring people, but like the people in the corporate office, and they recorded record profits that quarter, and that money was like, because they were like, oh, well, we got to get rid of people because everybody's cutting budgets. But like, also, the arenas like weren't selling well before coronavirus. They weren't doing quarter houses and half houses and shit at a lot of the arenas. And now they've like cut out the cost of having to travel to arenas. Like, so they even cut they cut out a whole huge part of what it takes to make wrestling happen, but they still laid off like a ton of people, laid off and furloughed a ton of people. And it's been said a lot within that industry about like that, like nobody else laid people off. They were the only company that laid people off. And I think that most companies now are just seeing that you could cut costs. Most companies, governments, and all that stuff, they're just seeing, yeah, I mean, you can cut costs. There's not a ton of pushback because people don't really understand how the company's money works anyway. And, you know, they're not, it's not, there's no, people don't understand where the money comes from or goes or any of that stuff anyway. So they can just say that they're low.
It's different out here. Yeah, it's different out here because it's a public university system. We can see their books. It's all public records where they have all their money. It's like we can see your money.
Yeah.
We can see you have all this money. Why are you trying to fire people? What's going on? Is
there going to be like hearings or anything to talk about firing people?
Well, it's in our contract that before they do layoffs, they have to meet and confer. So I'm in the union, so I kind of know a lot about this. But they have to do a meet and confer before they lay anyone off. This actually happened back in like 2008, 2009, and the story of what happened back then involves, in a very kind of strange California way, former bodybuilder turned actor named Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Love that guy. Love him. Don't tell me he did anything wrong.
Well, he came into office in like 2003, I think it was, and he was telling everybody right off the bat he was going to be a fiscal conservative.
Arnold, no, and don't do that.
And then so in 2008, so when the crash hits, 2008, 2009 hits, they start coming back with all this layoff talk again. And you know what happened back then is that, you know, they had the meet and confer with the union, and the union decided that, well, we're going to preserve full employment, but we're gonna go on furlough, kind of. We're basically going to take a pay cut so that we can preserve full employment in the system, rather than having some people laid off.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's gonna be tough.
Kind of the pay cuts that were put in place back during the financial crisis, we finally just made up all of those missed raises over the past decade. We just finally made that up like last year.
There's that.
Well, maybe we didn't even make it up. We kind of broke even, and now it's gonna happen again.
The mystery is solved. They do not want to pay full wages.
Yeah, they don't like that.
It seems like they're not into paying the full amount for full employment. Is there anything people can do to help? Like, can you show up to the meet and confer? I'd love to meet and confer.
I love conferring.
Yeah, so it's kind of unclear to me, kind of legally what that means. You know, they're obligated to meet with us and discuss the situation and get, like, you know, a counteroffer from us. Like, we can make a counteroffer, like we did back in 2009, that says, okay, we're just gonna forego some raises and put everybody on some furlough days. But I'm not entirely sure what's going to happen. We're going to have to, I guess, just wait on our hands to get their proposal. But if we want to be proactive about it, I mean, we can start planning some kind of job action, you know?
Hell yeah, you can. I mean, this is a really shitty year because, like, I think, you know, just selfishly, I think recreational weed was going to be on a lot of ballots. And they weren't able to do petition gathering. And I think there's a lot of stuff that we're going to be, like you said, with the meet and confer, it's probably going to be impractical to go to the meeting because they're not going to, it'll be like a Zoom thing or something like that. And I know that people think, I think once you put something on Zoom, it feels less important. except for comedy shows that are happening on Friday night. Those are extra important, actually.
Yeah, and it's going to be, I'm just a local officer in the union. It's going to be one of the statewide, a cadre of the statewide bigwigs who are going to talk to the chancellor's office about it.
Oh, you never.
So I'm kind of myself, even personally, kind of cut out of it. Yeah.
That sucks. Well, good luck with this California bigwigs. I hope they don't lay anybody off, because I know a lot of our listeners probably do. We probably got a lot of listeners that are in that list of that amount of employees. We have a lot of college professor listeners, and good luck to you. I hope everything works out. I'm gonna give you a piece of advice before we go. Don't walk into that fire. Don't go just because the fire's there. Don't go out and walk into it. Please try to avoid the fire.
Yeah, you can see it from pretty far.
Oh, okay. So you're safe. I mean, I guess can I ask you this before we go? Sure. Is it a weird, do you know if it's going to get to you? What does it feel? I guess, what is the feeling of having are you afraid it's going to get to you? Do you feel like it's going to get there?
Well, I mean, it's just kind of like the weather, What are you going to do? Get mad at the rain? Get mad at the wind?
That's true.
I mean, part of it's just kind of something that happens. These things just break out, high heat, lightning, just whatever environmental conditions that contribute to it. So there's really no telling where one's gonna break out. But what can be done is that you can dedicate resources to combating it, and those resources are occupied in many other ways right now.
True.
I don't know if you know or not. This is kind of something that people talk about a little bit, but a lot of the firefighting out here is done by people who are incarcerated.
Yeah, and they're sick now. That COVID has ripped through the prison, so they're short on people to even do that. They shouldn't be doing it anyway, or they should be getting paid to do it. But
Yeah, so the captive labor is running a little short at this point. So if it keeps getting worse, I really don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah. Well, good luck out there. Stay safe.
All right. Talk to you later, fellas.
Talk to you later.
We had somebody that had all of their stuff packed up, ready to leave in case the fires came.
Fuck.
It is kind of like you said, the weather. You just check the radar and see where it's going, and then whether you're going or not.
I mean, it is like a hurricane, right? But it's weird because with fire you can see it in the distance. You're watching this sort of slow thing come towards you, and it has to be kind of a mind fuck. We've talked about this on Street Fight many times. Mine and Brett's ancestors, cowards. They moved to a place where there's no chance of any natural disasters, And then me and Brett, we took it actually one step further and moved into the city where there are no tornadoes even. All we have is tornadoes. We live in the city. There's no tornadoes in the city. So where's when's the last, do you remember the last time there was severe weather? I can't remember.
There was that one fracking earthquake.
Yeah. But that wasn't shit. I didn't even know it happened.
Right.
I was in the same city as you. I didn't even know it happened.
That's true. Most people didn't know it happened. But
there was a really bad storm about 15 years ago when I was working at the cable company where it knocked out a lot of power for 4 days, and it was like a derecho. You remember the derecho?
They just had one in Iowa.
I know. These motherfuckers said that it was coming here. I was reading through the news. It said there's a derecho coming, at 4:30 today, and it was 4:30, and I was like standing outside, and the sun was out, and I was like, you can't fucking trust.
Yeah.
You can't trust the app.
Yeah.
You were
never.
telling me something about the app yesterday. Was that you that was telling me something about the app?
Yeah, they changed the percentage of rain from like units of 5 to now they do exact percentages. Like they'll say there's a 37% chance of rain at 8 p.m.
Never happens either.
No.
I've decided that I have a better handle on the weather than the app. I can tell you if something's gonna happen.
The app has ruined a lot of stuff for me. Like we've not done things because it said it was going to rain. 60-70% chance of rain, and we don't do shit. And we're just sitting there waiting for the rain to start, and then all of a sudden it's bedtime.
Yeah, I don't trust it anymore. It's like I'll get up and go out on my walk, and Katie will be like, "App saying it's gonna rain." I was like, "It ain't gonna rain."
Yeah,
and it does. It doesn't rain most of the time. You know?
Really, the radar is the only thing I trust.
True. Well, they were talking about a derecho is gonna be here at 4:30 on Tuesday. And then I was like, oh, that's scary. And then I looked at what time it was, and it was 4:30. And I was just like, I don't think this derecho's getting here. It doesn't even look close. You know, but that's the last time, because that derecho we had a few years ago, we were doing Street Fight already. I know that. We were doing Street Fight when that derecho happened.
Yeah.
And it blew a warehouse to pieces in Hilliard, Ohio. And that's pretty brutal, but
the weather, we've had the ice knock out power and shit for a week.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that's super dangerous because it's winter and yeah, it just we don't have disastrous weather events here, and it's like so when we talk to listeners in you know Florida, Louisiana, the East Coast, and California, where the fires and the earthquakes are, I'm always curious of how how do you just like, because I would be standing outside watching the fire the whole time. I would like, I can't imagine sitting on your couch and watching the documentary about video games and well, there's a fire outside, you know?
Yeah, I can. Who cares?
Hey, you're on Street Fight. Who's this?
Hey, what's up? It's Lermy.
Lermy! Hey, how's it going? I haven't heard from you in a while because I don't have any social media anymore. I'm on a cleanse.
Dude, you should be cleansing right now. It feels good.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird because I don't know.
Get the hell off of there.
I don't know what to do without it. As I said, I read my Google cards today.
Yeah, you should remedy that.
Those really get you. You should just read a book. Don't you like reading? Isn't that your hobby?
It's not a hobby, first of all. That is you're intentionally poking me. I am reading.
It's a hobby, and it's my new hobby too. I'm getting back into it.
What are you reading?
And audiobooks too.
What are you reading right now?
I'm listening to an Ursula K. Le Guin book, which is like feminist science fiction.
Oh, I've read some of her stuff.
Yeah. The other book, The Dispossessed, is like about basically like
I've read that one.
Anarchist society on the moon. Have you read it?
Yeah. That's like I got turned on to her.
It's part of a whole series.
Yeah, I got turned on to her and Margaret Atwood in college, actually. They had us read a lot of that stuff, and I was like, this stuff's great. It's really good. I'm reading, like, scene books still. I started Meet Me in the Bathroom, which is about, like, Interpol, The Strokes.
Real life?
Yeah, I'm really into these music scene books now. Like, it just...
Oh, yeah.
It's really cool to see. I mean, I guess it's because of what we do for a living. It's like really neat to see a
Something
scene.
to talk about.
Huh?
Oh, I was gonna say it's you could make a podcast out of it.
Yeah. It's just seeing a scene develop is very neat, and it's also cool that it's like I'm interested in the Strokes. I guess how they got big or whatever. So what's up, Lermy?
Be rich.
What?
Be rich, right?
I don't know if they're rich. I
That's
think
the
they
secret.
are. I think they are. I think they were rich. Go
It
ahead.
helps you with a lot of stuff. It's the secret for most things.
It is. It is. I wish I could be rich. I was watching a thing. What the fuck? Oh no, I've been listening to a lot of radio. One of the people's rich, and I'm just like, and like, he talks about being rich a lot, and it sounds
rich.
like the best thing in the
funny.
world. Yeah, it sounds so good. But what's up?
Well, he's probably, so I just started working for the census, which after being pretty much, chilling with the unemployment for a long time. So
How's the
this
census?
is the first time I'm actually like, oh, I have to leave my house and like do some stuff that other people are making me do.
It does
It's
suck.
fucked up.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be weird doing that now because even in regular years of the census, people are very weird about the census. Some people are. And this year, I assume...
They do a horrible job of explaining like what it is to the general public. I think people just like don't know what it is.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of conservatives that think that the census is them making a list of people who you're taking, like, that you could, like, refer to take guns or, like, they know what you do for a living, Like, I don't think they understand that it is, like, how we allocate resources. Or that's... in theory, what it's supposed to be, but I think there are a lot of conservatives that just see it as a way for them to get more information on you. I couldn't do it. I would be freaked. Especially you're in the South, right?
Because of the virus.
I mean, I don't know. I don't think the virus. I think I've moved to, like, if you're outside, it's basically fine with the virus.
True, but people have been inviting me into their houses too. So I'm just like going into people's houses. It's so interesting. Because you're just like, I've been spending months cooped up inside, basically, like not really going anywhere and talking to people, just trying to work from home a little bit, which is cool. But yeah, now I'm like just walking up to anybody, literally like sneaking around the sides of people's houses to like see if there's like a side door, and like it's all off of an app. So they give you like all these addresses and an app, and that makes it crazy when you're actually talking to someone and you have to be like, sorry, I have to like put this in this app, and like they're telling you things that you can't put in the app at the moment, and it's so, I don't know, it's so weird.
How do you like going in
I want a
people?
clipboard,
Yeah, I know the pandemic makes this a little scarier, but isn't it interesting going in people's houses, though? Like, I did it for years.
Yeah.
I did it for 7 years as my job, and I think going into people's houses is so fascinating.
It's cool. I'm like endlessly interested by it, and like the people who invite you in, because I mean most people don't, but like a couple times I've only been doing it for like a week, and a few times I've been in people's houses. And this one woman, like, the only reason she let me in was because she thought I was the guy coming to fix her TV. That's why she opened the door. And I wasn't, and she was like, okay, let's do this, like, upstairs, because I'm in the middle of watching something. And she's watching, like, some like, reality ghost TV show.
Oh!
Yeah, it couldn't be pulled away from
it. To sit down on... Yeah, exactly. You can't... It's live TV. You can't pause it. It's not on YouTube. But, yeah, then she invites me upstairs to sit in one of those tiny, like... You know those really small plastic chairs for like a baby?
Yes. Yeah.
It's like a super tiny ass chair next to her couch, and she has this big TV, and then another big TV off to the side that's apparently broken. And yeah, we just do the census, and she's like talking shit about her chihuahua that's barking, telling me about how she used to have the best chihuahua ever. And
now this new one.
When it was over, the new one just barks a lot.
She's like, this new one's a fucking piece of shit. I like the other one better. I wish I still had the old one. I love that. I wish people said that about their kids.
I know. I was like, oh.
Like the worst thing I think the thing I don't like about going in people's houses is that like house smells are terrible. I hate house smells. You know?
They're strong. It's just strong if you're not used to it.
Yeah.
You know?
And every house has it because because like for me, it's like I, for a number of years thought my house doesn't have a house smell. No house smell in my house. House I grew up in, no house smell. Yeah, it's neutral smell in my house. It's like breathing in regular old oxygen. But then all my friends' houses had a house smell that most of the time I found to be, it wasn't unpleasant, but it was like, what is this? You know what I mean? My friends.
Like powerful.
Yeah, the people I grew up across the street from had the most powerful house smell that it like came out the door when they opened it. It wasn't even like contained in the house. It was like not gross. It was kind of like some kind of food. They were Greek, so the dad made a lot of Greek foods and shit like that, you know?
Okay.
I guess his dad was from Greece.
Just some lamb on the spit, maybe?
I don't... Well, they did do that once a year, but I don't know. It was just a wild smell that was so strong, and it's like... I've smelled it in other people's houses, too. When I was a cable guy, I'd go in, I'd be like, oh, this is the Steve... this is the Steve smell here.
Yeah, we just bought a new China cabinet off of Facebook Marketplace, and when you open it up, the other person's house smell is still in there. I hate it every time I open it.
No.
What is the smell? What's the smell?
Like a Pier 1 house. Like it just smells like a big suburban house.
Potpourri.
Yeah, some
like
sort.
It's potpourri. It's matter you that it's like why didn't you get the house smell out of that cabinet before you sold it to me?
Lemon Pledge or something.
Ugh. My house stunk growing up too.
Facebook
That's the real
Marketplace.
problem. Is that like I grew up in a very smelly home because we had dogs and we didn't wash them and my parents didn't wash them nearly enough. And we had an above ground pool and the dogs would swim in the pool and then get out and like nobody would stop them from just running into the house. And then they would run into the house. I multiple times watched that dog shake the water off of them in the living room of that house. And my house smelled like so bad like dog that one time when I was in 9th grade, I let a girl wear my starter jacket and she took it off my hands as she was going to class. And then after the class, she came and like handed it to me, but like held it like with 2 fingers, like that kind of like, this is like really gross. And she's like, your coat smells like dog. And it was humiliating. God. One of the humiliating times of my life. Yeah. And from that point on, I was so mad at my parents for having dogs. Like it just all the time. That's all I thought about was like, we gotta get rid of these fucking dogs. Yeah. But yeah, I like also seeing people's decorations, and unfortunately for you, it's past DVD times, so you don't get to look through their DVDs. That's sad. That was the best part about being a cable guy is looking at people's DVDs.
Yeah,
and realizing that everybody watches all the same movies. Everybody has like it's types of people movies, but it's like I know exactly what movies Brett would have owned on his DVD collection. I know exactly what Jason would have owned. Everybody knows what I would have owned, you know? Like I could just look at a person and be like, I know what your DVD collection is.
And the rack that it was on, or like the special shelf for them, however they're displayed.
Brett, did you have a wave one? The one that's like straight up and
for
then
CDs.
Comes down. That was a CD rack. What was your DVD?
Oh, nice Souter, a flat packed one from Meyer or something.
God, we were on. I mean, mine was too, and we were on a dark road until we found each other. We would both be our parents if we hadn't found each other.
Could happen.
Is it are the people being pretty nice to you as you go out?
No one's been like mean to me yet. No one's like yelled at me or threatened me. There's like a protocol if people threaten you. Apparently that happens. And I don't know, mostly people just like don't answer the door. And so I'm just like literally sneaking around, like knocking on the door, ringing all the doorbells.
You can see them in the house.
Side door.
And you can probably see them in the house.
I don't look in. I don't want to look in because it feels too awkward. I'm like, I don't want to make eye contact at that moment with somebody. But I've definitely heard people and been like, I know that you're in there and that you're ignoring me. I can't take it personally. You're just a government spook walking around.
Are you personally a person that answers the door every time somebody comes to it?
So I live on the 3rd floor of like a multi-family home, which is what actually most of the houses are around here, which makes it a more complicated job because there's like no way that anyone could knock on my door because we locked the door that leads to the hallway that would lead up here. So, and we have doorbells, but they don't work. And I think nobody's doorbells work around here.
What would your philosophy be, I guess, if you did have like a place where people came to the door? What would your philosophy be about answering the door?
I would probably try to suss it out in some way, like look out or something. When I was a kid, we lived kind of in the woods, and so there were like nobody was really coming around. So when somebody did, I was kind of like excited about it and be like, who could that be? But I would look out the window on like the higher floor and like look at the car or whoever was there and be like, who is this?
Brett, what's your philosophy?
So I don't know if I would answer the door for me if I saw myself out there.
I usually answer the door.
You're a door answer. You talk to them. You give them the time of day, or do you say not interested and
No.
push them away?
I listen to them.
Jason, what's yours?
Bless.
Jason answers. So I got an announcement to make.
Thanks, you guys.
Okay, I used to be an answer guy, right? And then one day somebody told me you don't have to answer it. Like it's not rude not to answer. I've not answered the door since. And I'll be sitting the TV on the couch. And like there was a time like a couple weeks ago where there was a canvasser. And I'm gone all day, but my wife's working from home. And Katie was like, there's a canvasser out there. And they've knocked on our door 4 times. And then I got home and they did it again for the 4th time. So the first thing I did was check to see if I had it.
Wait, like what distance between knocks? Like all at once, or like they're coming back 4 times?
Yeah, they came back 4 times total. They came back 3 times before I got home, and then once when I got home at like 7, I think, and then it was like they didn't come back through. But they didn't know who it was either. They because I said, they're doing the census. It could be census people, and they're like, I just don't want to take the risk because me and my family, especially me.
Or like if they're canvassing for someone bad, or like what's the worry?
Truthfully, I don't think anybody canvasses for bad people. I've never had like a Republican come to my door. Ever. It's always like lefty causes. Have you ever had anybody that's not a leftist come?
I've never had a Republican canvasser.
Yeah.
Once.
I've never, so I don't worry about that. I just end up, I am not good at turning people down. And I've been burned a lot of times like signing up for stuff. And then I one time signed up for a monthly $53 payment to some organization.
What?
And I didn't even know what they did. They were like, well, we're environmentalists, but we're also involved in voting, and we make sure there's fair elections, but we also look at the forest and we worry about our waterways and stuff. And then like I thought I did a $53 one-time donation, which was still so far out of my means, but I had felt so uncomfortable, like saying like, no, I don't care about the water or the voting. Yeah. Like I didn't want to make them leave. I felt bad. So like I ended up I ended up having to, I paid it once. It was a recurring payment. I paid the first time, and then the second time it came out, I canceled it. But like, I have changed my gas provider and electric provider.
Every time?
Yeah, like 15 times probably. Every time they come to the door, I'm like, yeah, I guess, sure, man, whatever. I don't care where it comes from. You know what I mean? Because they're like, oh, we use wind. And I'm like, how? There's like no windmills. Like, what? Like, I don't get how. Like, but it's so obviously a scam. I've changed my cable service. So answering the door is like a risky proposition for me because I am afraid to turn anybody down.
You're about to give someone $53.
Yeah, I am. I'm about to do something that's going to affect
anything?
me for months down the line. It's just like easier to not open it for anybody. Cuz then I don't feel bad when I don't open it for the right people, you know? It's like, well, I don't open it for the bad people neither,
Right,
you know?
right.
But I also will never, I will say this, and what is the philosophy for the census for no solicitor signs?
Those are not applicable to the census.
No.
It's not soliciting. They're not asking you to buy anything. You're actually required by law to like complete the census. There's not really a way of enforcing that, but they put it on the paper so to make people think that it's like you're kind of supposed to, but there's just like no realistic way of getting it, especially right now because they're like shortening the process so much. So there's just going to be a lot of people who probably will never be counted, which is like bad.
It's so. Here's where I really feel for you knocking on no solicitor sign houses because me and Brett have said this on the show, but if it has a no solicitor sign, that is a sign of an extremely antisocial person.
It's an aggressive person.
Yeah, it's gonna be. And
but I did talk to like a conservative dude today who really didn't want to talk to me. It seemed like he didn't want to talk to me at first, but it didn't take very much to like turn that around. I was just like, well, you know, I'm here already, so I just started asking the questions, and he was like, once you get him talking, it's like, oh, I think you like want someone to talk to.
Yes.
But he was just saying all this like classic conservative dude stuff about like, well, he thought it was the census was so that they were going to raise the taxes on everyone or something. He's like,
of course.
Anytime, you know, the city hall has all this information and they're just using it to raise the taxes.
Yeah, that's.
And he was talking about he like is the landlord of his house, but it's just him and his dad. But he was telling me about these old tenants who like were selling drugs or something and putting out cigarette butts in the stairway. All this stuff.
It's him and his dad. He rents an apartment to his dad.
I think he like was taking care of him because his dad was like 95, and that's who answered the door.
Okay. When I did the canvassing,
he was watching TV.
I'm gonna say this: like, it is brave of you to do the census because when I did the canvassing, it was terrifying to me, and every door was like a freak out moment for me. Like, I was freaked out every single door. Brett's experience was different, but it was scary to me. My hat's off to you for
It's
doing
kind
it.
I feel that though because the only reason I was like, oh, I can do this job was because I did canvass earlier this year, and it was in New Hampshire. And if you know the no soliciting type of guy, that's like every guy in New Hampshire. It's every person in New Hampshire. Is like sitting there with a gun, like waiting for you, and it was kind of nerve wracking, you know. But they actually have you do the census. Every house I've been to is within like a mile of where I live, so you can pretty much like walk wherever. Half of the people are like literally my neighbors, so that part of it's been kind of cool. I'm like actually just like talking to the people who live around here, like making some friends. I'm friends with the mailman now. So
that's awesome.
I don't know. I also did it because I was like, maybe this will make me become more charming or something.
I mean, you have to, yeah. I mean, the more situations you put yourself in with strangers and you have to steer your way out of it. Like sometimes you flub it and sometimes
Yeah.
you get it right, but it does help level up your charisma for sure.
Yeah, I'm trying to level up my charisma. And the more you do it, the less it matters when it's like fucked up. You're
Right.
just like, yeah, whatever.
You can just go
Fuck
around
you.
the corner and fucking laugh your ass off about it.
Well, that's stand up, right? That's like any kind of live comedy is like you're so before you do it, you are preoccupied with bombing. Like that because you're like, well, that's the
Yeah.
only possible outcome of this is that I'm going to go up there and eat shit, especially cuz when you hear stories about people doing stand up, they're like, "Yeah, you'll bomb like the first 50 times." And you're like, "I can't like
Aw,
no,
that's
I
so
don't
rough.
know." Yeah, and you're like, "I don't know if I can handle
I feel like that's a bad attitude to come in with. I feel like
Yeah.
you're setting yourself up for failure.
Yeah, but I mean, it actually is nice because when you go up there and get a couple laughs, it really keeps you going. You know, it's like you're like you're able to get out of the first time I did it, I ran out like I'd done a crime. Me and Brett both ran out like we had just robbed that bar. We were giggling and we were like, that was fucking awesome, man. You see, they were laughing at this one thing and shit like that. And then the first time Brett did it, we did the same thing. We were running out of there. And it's like but it's like once you've done a lot of them, when you bomb and you're walking out, you're just like, oof, that one was rough. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'd say bombing is treated as the worst thing that can happen, but it's not at all.
No.
There's a lot worse stuff. And it also is just becomes funny at a certain point.
Yeah.
Especially if you're never going to see those people ever again.
I know.
The same with this person, someone will have a story. Yeah, the census person came to my house and was absolutely unintelligible and then got so weird that they ran away and nothing will ever happen. You know?
And you just created a good story.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it is smart. Like, people really don't. I like your reasoning because I really don't think that people try to get used to dealing with people they don't know. I really feel like we're so conditioned now to be like, well, everybody's stupid. You know what I mean? Like nobody is, there's nothing that other people that I don't know can offer to me. I guess you hear that attitude a lot of times.
Well, you get used to just who's around you or whatever, and being kind of antisocial. I definitely felt that, and especially with mostly being quarantining like myself at home, and mostly just seeing my boyfriend all the time, which is great. But you don't have to talk to people you don't know anymore, it seems like.
Yeah.
Or you don't have something in common with, on the internet or whatever. And I'm like, I need to be able to talk to someone who, isn't a podcaster. No offense.
No, I agree with you. I think that's true too. I really, part of what I think has made me very depressed over the past couple months is just not being put into social situations with people I don't know and having to deal with people I don't know or talk to people I don't know. And I think that's really you're totally right that it can really make you you can get very comfortable in that situation. Like you can feel like, well, I there's never any resistance to my life. You know what I mean? Everything works. I mean, obviously you're going to fight with the person you're staying with and stuff like that. Every once in a while you'll fight with your boyfriend or I'll fight with Kate or something like that. Or Gwen, we'll argue. But even then, you pretty much know that it's going to come out fine at the end. Whereas when you're at a bar or something, there are so many different variables.
Anything could happen. Anything could happen.
And that's what's exciting. But that's exactly what's exciting about something like that too, is that anything can fucking happen, Well, thanks for calling in and good luck with the whole with the census.
Thank you.
Tell people where to find your
we'll have
stuff.
To see. I'll call back and we'll see if I'm more charming and social.
Well, I find you extremely charming. So is there anywhere where people can find your stuff?
Oh, yeah. Ignore what I said about not going on social media, and you can follow me on Instagram. It's Lermworm, Lerm, Worm, like the guy in the ground. And there's a link to like my real website on there too. So check out my real website as well, GinaLerman.com.
Yeah, Lermy has contributed stuff to the zine, and it's all very cool. And go, contribute,
Yeah, the last bonus scene from that went out last month included a Lermy original with it.
Yeah, have fun. Have fun censusing, and please, do call in. Keep us updated. We've had a few people offer to call,
thanks,
but
guys.
they didn't do it. So thanks for calling. We'll do one more before we go to break because it's not quite 10:30 yet.
Okay.
So what do you think about the census, Brett? Like, would you? I mean, it is weird. We do almost, if we didn't have the TV show, we would be in a situation where we could just become census people because we can't tour.
Yeah.
And everybody's working from home. Like, then it would be even possible that we could just decide to see what it's like. But I mean, does that sound like a job that would maybe appeal to you?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I know you really liked you felt good canvassing.
Yeah. It was all right. It wasn't too bad. There's a lot. I like awkward stuff. I like funny circumstances. I'm very easily able in the moment to like just brush it off. I don't like melt down very much.
No.
And I kind of like to invite that chaos.
Ooh.
And getting paid to like, if I had to go back to working, the thing I'm focused on the most is the conditions.
Yeah.
Like walking outside talking to people sounds way better than like doing a warehouse or sitting at a desk thing.
Right. It's the summertime.
Yeah.
They give you a bunch of stuff. Like you wear a thing that says census. Like you look like you're professional and you're out to do like a real thing. So yeah, I'm with you, man. I saw the cable people knocking on doors and I was like, we don't need that right now. Yeah,
I have talked to those. Hey, we're here out from Spectrum. Just wanted to let you know we're in the neighborhood. If you need anything, they like just acted like they were introducing themselves, like they wanted to be friends. And I'm like, no, you're trying to sell me the new triple play bundle. Is why you're here.
Yeah.
Stop telling me that you're checking in.
Yeah, I'm happy with my internet service that I have.
Yes,
what you would say.
That's
because you are classically happy with your internet service.
Yeah, nah, yeah. I feel like there's no way I can switch to a better one.
There isn't one.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I get so jealous hearing people on the East Coast talk about FiOS.
Yeah.
It makes me like mad that it exists because that's what I want. I want fiber to the house.
Yep.
All
right. One more call before.
Not one more call. One more before break.
Thanks for calling Street Fight. Who we talking to?
Hey, how are you guys doing?
Great. How are you?
I'm good. This is Dave from Orlando, Labor Lifts on Twitter.
All right. What's going on down in Orlando? Home of lots of COVID cases.
Yeah, home of Ron DeSantis, who's trying to get everybody back in the schools as quickly as possible.
I mean, yeah, your governor that's a rough one. I read so much. I feel like the governor of Georgia and the governor of Florida are doing something equally bad. Like they're trying to one up each other. Because I remember when Atlanta did the mask mandate finally, the governor of Georgia was like, mask mandates are now hereby illegal.
yeah.
And it's just like, well, you don't have to do that.
Oh, yeah, DeSantis swore that he would, never close the state back down again or whatever it was he said.
I mean, it feels like things are I feel like things are slowly getting back to normal. There's more people at the bars. There's more people going out. I think that COVID hours are going to stop, I think, within the next, 2 or 3 months. I think that's over. And once that's over, movie theaters are open. A movie came out this week, not in Columbus, but...
I just saw one that I wanted to see that said in theaters August 28th. I can't remember what it was, though.
Bill and Ted Face the
Fuck
Music.
no.
Well, I was calling because I messaged Brett on Twitter about a unionizing campaign that we had with the Central Florida IWW.
Okay, what are you up to?
Well, we were working with the Dandelion Cafe workers to help them set up a union. We've been working with them for about the last year, and they finally decided to go public a few weeks ago and gave us some of the worst small business tyrants stories that I've heard. I've got to be careful about how much I say because I was involved with the campaign, so I can't sound like I'm slandering them or anything. So I'll leave all the talking shit about them to you guys.
Is there you can't say any of the what was the retaliation for it? I know that they said, or I guess was there retaliation for going public? I don't know how to ask this question.
Yeah, so I can go through the story. I can give all the facts of all that.
Go for it.
So essentially, but when they decided to go public because there weren't a lot of safety precautions being taken before COVID, right? About dangers in the kitchen. It's a really old building. There's no real management. There's a couple of owners who aren't there most of the time, so the employees are just running things on their own, which sounds great right up until you need to make a decision the boss would have to approve and they're not around or anything. But they decided to go public. They had one of the employees who was not going to be scheduled for a few days between when they would ask and when they would theoretically have a meeting. That employee went on their I think it's called Homebase is the app for messaging with all the employees and everything. They went and just said, hey, we would all like to have a meeting with all the staff together to discuss some of our concerns about what's going on, because they hadn't had an all-staff meeting in about 2 years.
Okay.
All right.
So
I mean, that is wild for a small business, though.
Oh, well, wait till you hear the next part, because they requested this meeting, and about 15 minutes later, the boss messaged the person who asked for it, said, y'all shouldn't be talking to each other outside of work, or, come to us individually, and they fired that worker on the spot.
So somebody got fired just for saying, okay, reiterate that, because I think what happened? I'm sorry. Reiterate that. I apologize.
Yeah. So they went on the work messaging thing. They asked for an all-staff meeting, and they were fired for asking for that.
For asking for a meeting?
Yeah. That's what I thought.
For asking for an all-staff meeting. I know it sounds out there. I wish I were exaggerating, but they literally were fired just for asking for a meeting.
And it's so they wanted to. They went on the app to talk to people, and the management saw it, and they fired them. They wanted to meet to talk union shit, I think is what's going on, without talking to the owners. It sounds like
they wanted to meet with the owners, with all the staff present.
Yeah, basically one person just said, can we have an all-staff meeting to the management, and they were like, you're fired.
That's cowardly.
Exactly.
That's a little bit cowardly, though. It feels like I guess in my opinion, if I was the manager of the place, getting everybody in the room and having the conversation, I could suss out who is. I mean, I'm just saying this as I would rather do the all-staff meeting if I was the owner and I was trying to bust a union. I feel like you get a lot more information out of an all-staff meeting than you do having them all be individual, if that makes sense.
Well, their union wasn't even public at this point. They were calling the meeting so they could let the employees know they were unionized.
I'm sure they knew, though. Do you think that do you think they knew?
Yeah, I'm sure they suspected.
Yeah.
It's hard to tell because they seem so oblivious. But after this happened, the workers all got together. They had their letter just saying, we've formed a union. We would like to have an all-staff meeting to address these concerns, and we want you to hire back the employee you fired for asking for a meeting.
I love that.
So
That's
they
my
delivered
favorite.
that a couple of days later.
That's my favorite move. I'm serious. Anytime they fire somebody being like, you're going to hire this motherfucker back too. We want more money. We want coverage. We want stable schedules. And you got to hire that person back. That's the move, dude. That's
Absolutely.
my favorite
And
one.
There's an argument to be made that even just firing that person could be a violation of labor law. It's an overbroad policy to ban all staff meetings.
Yeah. I mean, but they could. That's what I mean about that is like they knew that the whole staff was meeting. And like they could have been there and been out ahead of it. Can I ask, are the owners hippies? It's very
So,
dandelion, you know?
It's supposed to be like a hippie vegan cafe, right? That's definitely how they brand themselves.
Oh, no.
I don't know that I believe that's really the philosophy of the owners.
So, is it, it's hard for me to, I don't know how to explain, because I don't want you to say something bad about a company you're trying to unionize, but like, is it crummy? Like, is it just like a diner, or is it like really hip and has all the, you know what I'm asking? Like, does it look like?
Yeah, it's like a fashionable place in a really old building.
Okay.
So it's got that kind of old chic sort of deal.
Okay, I'm getting a better idea, but it sounds like, because the reason I asked if they were hippies, because it sounds like we might be on to my hippie character that I brought up on the show recently. You know, like more conservative, but also a hippie and horrible to their workers.
Right.
Yeah, I think you might get a better idea of just how true that is with how they responded to the unionizing letter.
Okay.
So they delivered this letter on a Monday afternoon. The boss basically snuck out the back half hour later after some, morning prep stuff. And that night, almost at midnight, when I guess they assumed people would be asleep because they'd have shifts in the morning, they sent out a message that they were shutting down the cafe for the next week.
Okay.
So
he sneaks out and then announces they're closing for a week.
Closing for a week, yeah, which is what they initially said, which if they were doing that to try and cool down union activity in the shop would be a lockout. That would be another violation of labor law. You can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
So we get out on the picket line, right, to say they've locked the employees out for unionizing. They're depriving them of work. You're not allowed to do that. We hand out flyers to members of the community who are coming there, try to explain the situation, get them to donate to a hardship fund in case there's further retaliation. And after a week out on that picket line in what's nearly 100-degree heat here in Orlando, the owners announced last Monday that they are shutting down the shop for good.
They love doing that. And they're just probably what their
They
goal
never
here.
acknowledged the union. They never had a meeting. They never said anything on social media. It was just, we'll be closed for a week. At the end of that week, we're closing the restaurant for good.
Wow.
So yeah, they probably it's like running a bad muffler shop. They probably can just roll it into another place. They'll probably just open it up a similar place,
rebrand,
and just fuck people over for 2 years until they get into the situation again and do it all over.
Yeah, what it sounds like they're gonna do is, because they have that anti-union thing as part of their thing. Like they have the anti-union stink on them. What they're going to end up doing is closing and then reopening with a completely different concept, but basically the same food. You know, like you just move stuff around. You're not Dandelion. You're like a farm to table extravaganza or something. Dandelion Cafe is not like very good either.
Yeah, we definitely think that they're probably going to try something like that.
Wait.
Like they obviously don't really have any understanding of labor law, and if they were to close like this and then reopen a similar business, that would be another violation because they're clearly shutting it down just to stop unionizing efforts.
True.
They could get dinged again on labor law violations for that. But what they went ahead and did is just today posted a thing on their website that they're that you can open your own Dandelion Cafe in your community using their name and their branding and all this stuff.
Right.
Who wants that?
Turnkey. Great name.
It's a
great
franchise.
brand.
It's not a great name. There's better names.
FTE.
FTE, Farm to Table Extravaganza. But they're not gonna. You'll never. It's FTE. It's like CVS means something.
See, but
Citizen Value Service.
But here's the thing, though, is that they're not going to do. There's no way they will open a restaurant. They're not talented. All these motherfuckers are drug dealers. They sell coffee. That's what they sell, and coffee sells itself. And that's how they get away with it. There's no way they could open a restaurant. They're just going
it's
to
a cafe. It doesn't mean they do coffee. Is it like a coffee shop?
It's coffee, and they do food too, but I think it's kind of coffee first and vegan food as well.
Okay, Brett was right. I cut him off there. I mean, cafe doesn't always mean coffee. I learned that once.
I would never eat at a cafe.
Yeah.
I feel like the food is always second.
Yeah. I mean, well, I went to a cafe once and I asked for a cup of coffee. It was a cafe down at the end of my street, and I was like, can I get a cup of coffee? They're like, we don't have coffee here. And I was like, but it's called a cafe. And they were like, yeah, cafes don't have to have coffee.
I guess that's right.
They explained. And I was just like, we do food. And I was just like, well, okay. But
somebody might want a cup of coffee.
I feel like if you're going to call it a cafe, you've got to have coffee at the minimum. You can add other stuff, but you should probably have coffee, right?
It was an Italian restaurant. So maybe they just call everything a cafe in Italy. You know what I mean? Cafeteria. Cafe really is cafeteria, is what that word means, right?
Maybe.
And FTE will be a place that recognizes the unions immediately. Now, the food will not be farm to table, but that'll be in the name, so it'll be heavily implied that it's farm to table. Because we can't afford farm to table right now. It's an epidemic. It's a grilled cheese restaurant.
Cafe comes from the French word meaning coffee.
Cafeteria. Okay. I mean, that's just a smart mouth thing. Then what does cafeteria mean?
I don't know.
Coffee-teria? You know what I mean?
No.
I mean, I'm just asking because cafe, coffee-teria,
yeah.
Is that what it stands for?
When I tried to type cafeteria, it brought up the cafe thing again.
Okay, well.
Oh. Is a type of food location where there's little or no wait staff. That's where you just pick up the food. They just have all the fruit plates sitting on a pile of ice. They got like the guy maybe a guy will carve you some roast beef sandwich, but cafeterias are like buffet shit.
Kind of embarrassed about that one. I thought cafe was short for cafeteria, but
how would you know?
How would I know?
Yeah.
I don't know. It sounded right because cafeteria starts out with the letters C-A-F-E.
Right.
And I don't think teria means anything. I don't think that has like a root meaning. It's just added it.
Let's do it.
Teria. What does that mean?
So there's one other concern with the owner here is, they get out of the illegal lockout charge if they actually shut down, right? You can't force them to keep their shop open if they decide to close it. But if they don't actually close down, then there you go. It's an illegal lockout. It was just retaliation. You're firing your entire staff for unionizing, which you can't do.
How do you know the difference? How do you make a distinction between whether they did that or not?
So they have to actually dissolve the LLC and liquidate their holdings for it to be an actual closure. And this owner has faked closing the restaurant once before.
Ooh.
The owner, Chris Blanc, opened this restaurant initially with his then wife. They, I guess, were splitting, having some sort of divorce.
Happens.
And he tried to take the restaurant, saying it was his idea to open it, all that sort of thing. Threatened to shut down the cafe and, won that case. And then afterwards, his wife went online and said something about how the cafe was, she had the idea to open the cafe and it was her dream. So he sued her for attorney's fees over claiming it was her idea. And during this process, he had claimed that he was closing the cafe, never actually filed the paperwork to shut it down, and then, of course, opened it back up again. So there's a chance that they may still try to do that, which, I mean, go ahead. I would love to get them in a lot more trouble, but, yeah, we really just can't trust anything that they're claiming that they're doing.
Yeah, that sounds like a horrible person.
I do think that, though, you're on the path. I think that, like, the union can win. I mean, obviously, if they close the store, they close the store. But this guy seems like you've outmatched him over and over again. Like he's a disgusted dad guy, and probably, and bad name for his restaurant, and also he's not doing anything right. He's gonna slip up and break a law. And does that get them fined if that happens?
They've definitely already broken the law. Closing the restaurant can get them out of a lot of it, but filing an unfair labor practice with the National Labor Relations Board, we can make sure that they're not allowed to open up another restaurant and just do this again. So at this point, they can get out of a lot of it if they actually shut it down. So there's enough against them to file for a lot of violations of labor law. And if that goes through, it really just, the best we can do is make sure they don't do it again.
Okay. Well, is there any way we can help?
Yeah, actually. So the union that the Dandelion employees formed is called The Seeds. They're on Twitter and Instagram at @the_seeds_. I'll put that in the chat also, but The Seeds with underscores on either side of the word seeds. And they're still raising money for a hardship fund, not only to make up for the money they lost while the restaurant was shut down and they were on picket, but just to hold people over until they can find something else, because unemployment is so high and Florida has deliberately made it as difficult to actually get unemployment payouts as possible. So if anybody can donate to that hardship fund, that would really be amazing.
All right.
That sounds great.
Yeah, thanks for calling in and keeping us updated. And please, listeners, help them out. And solidarity to y'all.
Yeah, thank y'all for listening to my long story.
It was a great
those
story.
owners fucked up a lot, and it took a while to explain all the ways they messed up.
Not a problem. Thank you for calling in. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, have a good night.
Peace.
Yeah, thank you guys so much.
That was Labor Lifts on Twitter if you want to follow him. We are going to take a break right now. 501, you're next in line. This week we have music for Never Better from Never Better. They are out of Portland, Oregon. You can find them at neverbettershreds.bandcamp.com. Once again, that's neverbettershreds.bandcamp.com. We'll put that in the chat. I hope you like the music. We're Street Fight Radio. We'll be back. Peace.
lunch break. I'm pins and needles away. Quit time 12 hours later. Fucked up again. I forgot we had plans on my way. Put a beer in my hand. Was yelling on the phone. I said things I didn't mean. I hope you know you're the sunshine in my dark life. Sunshine. I don't wanna listen. And I don't wanna think. I'd maybe feel better if I didn't worry and everything. But I don't wanna listen. And I don't wanna think.
Are we in? All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Street Fight Radio. Hope you enjoyed that. That was Never Better out of Portland, Oregon. They're a listener. So go follow them on Bandcamp and buy their music and support them. Follow them. Hook them up. They're doing really good stuff. I love that album a lot. You can find them at neverbettershreds.bandcamp.com. All right, we are back. Taking calls.
I'm ready. I'm ready to go.
And if you want to help out with, once again, with the hardship fund, just go to the Linktree. I don't know how to say this shit. I've never said it out loud. Linktree / the seeds.
All right.
And it's a .ee. I don't know how to say
.ee.
that. It's linktr.ee / the seeds.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Right on. Linktree.
Love it.
Linktra.ee.
Linktra.ee.
Yeah.
Thanks for calling Street Fight. Who are we talking to tonight?
Hey, is this me?
Yup.
It is.
What's
this
up?
This is Jordan, also Blueberry Scones at Twitter. Nothing much. What's up with y'all?
Well, doing a show. Just working, working hard. So what's up tonight?
Nothing much. I just actually wanted to know if y'all, I wanted to give a warning kind of to all the other Street Fight listeners. I wanted to talk about my time and becoming a contractor, if y'all want to listen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. We like to hear that.
So this is kind of a warning to anyone, I guess, that ever gets a contractor job anywhere. You want to fight for your own rights, because whenever I started working at a facility contracting, doing some IT stuff, I found out that the people I worked for made 2 times the amount that I worked for. So the company that I was contracted out to would pay the company, 3 times what I made, essentially.
Yeah.
And the company that I was contracted from made 2/3 of that, and I would only make 1/3 of that. So I wasn't, I had decent money, a little bit above the minimum wage for my area, but still not great money. And they also they made it very vague going into the contracting process to make it, sound like you don't have any say in the matter, right? So you can't negotiate about your wage and stuff like that, because they made everything so opaque, I would say. So we also didn't have any sick days. So I worked for 6 months, and we didn't have any sick days. When our company got days off as a company, we wouldn't get that time off. So you would have to work 40 hours that week,
right,
in 4 days, in order to get your full wage, right? So I had to work several 10-hour days, and they put the contractors kind of together. So with no sick days, you kind of if anyone got sick, there were a couple people that got sick. So you're by these people that are sick, and you can easily get sick, but you don't have any time off or anything like that. So
yeah. Absolutely. And that was just how did you get in there? Did you get there through a service?
Yeah. So, I recently graduated from college, and I did, computer science as my degree. So this person called me up and saw my LinkedIn and saw that I did Java. So, and, C++ programming and stuff like that. So I did programming for this company, but from what I understand, the contractors contract for programming and IT and stuff like that. So they called me up and they were like, we're looking for someone to do this. Do you want to go in for an interview at this company? And I was like, yeah. And then I went for the interview and I got the job. And then the company I contracted from kind of was really vague about when I start and stuff like that, kind of made the whole process really to where you didn't question anything, I thought, you know what I'm saying? So you didn't ask for more when you got your job. But whenever you get those jobs, oh, go ahead. Sorry.
It just, it always, signing contracts is always such a weird thing, because that you should read it, everything in you knows that you're supposed to look and read over the contract. You don't. Because you know also that when you go to read it, it's not going to make any sense to you because you don't know the legal stuff. Like, it doesn't matter if it's a bad contract because you're not going to be able to tell anyway. They intentionally make them so that you can't tell, you know, what's in the contract.
Right, and also people are in a position where like you really, what are you going to do? Say I don't like this contract, and they're going to say, okay, you don't get money from us, then you're not hired.
That is true. I mean, that's really, and that's, you know, because you hear a lot about programming and stuff like that, like computer programming, is that like people feel like it's a really good job because a few people make a bunch of money, but a lot of people are just contractors that don't have any benefits and have a really like I don't know. It's just like it's as uneasy as any sort of bottom rung job that I've ever had. You still feel like you're on a razor's edge the whole time you're doing it.
Yeah, and nowadays, like a lot of companies are going to like contract to hire type stuff if they do want to hire you, right? So you have to go through a contractor for at least like 6 months to a year before you can even get to one of the decent paying jobs.
Yeah, absolutely. That's also very true. And like it is a real way to toss a few months down the drain too if they don't hire you, right? Like going from contract to hire. I know people who have worked at places for 4, 5, 6 months under contract in a contract to hire system and not ended up getting hired. And it wasn't even just like they were a bad worker or anything like that. It was just like there's only so many spots and they can only hire so many people. So, I mean, you don't have to be like a terrible worker to not be able to get the job as a contractor, you know, because they're gonna cut good people at times. You know, it's just at some point it gets to a number where they have to cut also good people too.
Yeah, and kind of going off of what the last caller was talking about, you know, unionizing with contracting jobs, that's really hard because, you know, you work for this company that kind of just outsources you. So no one from your company you work with. So you don't even have a chance to unionize really because, you know, there are people that are full-time at the actual company you're contracted to, and they're not going to unionize with you. You know, they're not in the same company as you, so that's not going to help you at all either.
Right, that's something I've heard. That's something I've heard a lot about contract work too, that you're bringing up, is that like there's a very clear separation between the contractors and the permanent employees, which makes it it's hard to even have solidarity. It's like it's like one side of any conversation is more powerful than the other side, you know?
Yeah, I totally agree. And, you know, I think even I was in a lucky position where I didn't have to work overnights and stuff like that. But several of the people that I've heard contracting, especially for programming, you have to do like on calls. So if like a program goes down, you have to go in there and fix it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that makes it even worse.
On call's actually the worst thing you can have in your employment. Like that's the one thing that like if I had to go back to working for a living, that would be the thing I would be pretty much like adamantly against, is being on call, because it is the worst feeling. Being on call is one of the worst feelings because you're not at work, but you're kind of at work all the time, you know? You can't live your normal life because you're stuck having to be ready to come into work at any time.
Yeah, exactly. And not only that, but like, you know, you can be on call and they call you at like 3:00 in the morning and you have to work on something for, you know, an hour, and then they're expecting you to be in at 6:00 in the morning after that. You can have those calls several times a night.
Yeah, that is an actually good point. I guess like, what I think is that the organizing almost kind of has to be around making contract work not the norm. Like we have to keep pushing to not allow them to, because everybody's going to be a contractor at some point, an independent, cashier contractor.
Yep.
Well,
Yeah.
thanks for calling in, and we're gonna end this. Me and Brett, when we run for president, there's not gonna be any more contracting.
Well, thanks.
Read
Can I
your
actually,
contract. Yeah, go ahead.
Can I actually plug something real quick?
100%.
So I just started a podcast called A Great Leap Somewhere. We kind of just talk about current events in our area. So I'm in the Arkansas area, and we talk about like COVID. We're going to talk about, renters unions and stuff like that and renting, because Arkansas doesn't have a guarantee of reasonable inhabitability. So, if you don't have AC in your apartment or anything like that, you're fucked. You're just really hot and stuff. So we're going to be talking about a lot of that stuff, and we just put out our first episode today. So
Right on.
That's
Check it
great.
out.
Yeah.
Thanks for calling in.
Keep it rolling.
Yeah. Do it every
no
week.
problem. And everyone can follow me at Blueberry Scones on Twitter if they want to.
Do that. I would, but I can't get on my Twitter, so I'm really in a rough spot.
I heard.
Have a good night.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, you too.
All right.
Yeah, contract labor is tough.
And you're right. That's where everybody seems to be the solution. And I definitely could see, like, if, say, the Square cashier system, if you were able to just get trained on that, and then Square could sell employees to cafes that were short for $20 an hour, and they pay you $10 an hour, you could be plugged into any Square cash register system.
Fuck, dude. Fucking shit. Did you read that is a possibility? 'Cause
no,
that
it's just
is,
right
like,
there for
really,
the doing.
That's some real evil businessman idea right there. That is.
Someone from San Francisco will call and say that they've been doing it for 10 months already, I'm sure.
True. You should definitely sell that idea to Square.
Okay.
I think.
I'll see what I can do.
I mean, you really could do it like Uber.
Yeah.
And it would just completely get rid of
benefits,
everything. Yeah. And even just interviews or anything. Everything's done.
No schedules.
Yeah. You just hit up an Uber and a person comes. I don't think customer service based businesses will, like companies that actually care about customers, but I could see a small business using it for sure.
Yeah.
But I could also see McDonald's not being opposed to something like that.
Well, and if you're running, if you're a small business, you're running through people constantly.
Oh my God, yeah. Yeah.
All right, next call. Thanks for calling Street Fight. Who are we talking to tonight?
Hey, Brad. Hey, Brian. It's Haley.
What's up, Haley? How's it going tonight?
It's good. It's my birthday today.
Amazing.
Well, happy birthday. You do anything special for your birthday?
26.
You do anything special for 26?
Not really.
Why not?
Well, I'm at home, and I don't really want to go anywhere today. I've been dealing with you guys know what GERD is?
Yes.
Like acid reflux and stuff like that. So I've had really bad for 2 months, and it's not going away. So it's been hard to really do anything. But this is also, this is shitty because my health insurance runs out now. So, and I've applied to applied to Medi-Cal, but I'm still waiting. So I don't know what that's going to be like, but not to be all depressing or anything.
It's fine.
I do have happier news.
Okay.
I have been on a tropical shirt kick recently, the past 2 months or so, and my dad surprised me with a nice shirt that I did a weird thing, and the rule is you're not supposed to look at the price of a gift, that rule, I guess, that nobody really explains why is a rule, but I guess is one. And I looked at the price. It's like $100 shirt, and this is the most expensive article of clothing that I own now. And it's well,
is it really comfortable though?
I'm buying $20. Oh, it's a nice shirt. It's got parrots on it, dog. It rules. I thought it would run a little small, but it actually is pretty perfect. I usually am used to spending like I said, like $20 on like jeans at Target or something like that, and whatever. So this is to own a $100 shirt is kind of unusual.
I've been saying that on the show week after week. I'm wearing a $100 shirt right now. I should have said that.
Really?
Yeah. I actually don't know the
It's a T-shirt too. It doesn't even have buttons or a collar on it.
But it says U.S. Mail in pink, really big. That's cool. Yeah, it doesn't have anything else on.
That is cool. No, I want that shirt now.
The thing is, just don't let it scare you. I mean, there'll be more expensive clothes, but just don't let it scare you. Just wear it like you would your other shirts.
Yeah, do that for real. I just did that the other day. Yeah, don't be like I'm just not gonna wear this shirt. You know, it's $100. I'm not gonna wear this shirt. Run through it like you do any old shirt, I think. But here's my bit of advice: hang dry everything. I'm down to hang drying everything now. Everything.
Outside?
No, inside. In the basement. I just hang to dry. You know?
Okay.
I hang it up on a rack and then they bring it to me. I just hang dry everything.
You like fold it over a line with a clothespin? Or what?
We have
from the shoulders?
Yeah, we have a metal pipe that runs across and I just drape it over the metal pipe and let it dry. You know?
You guys are lucky because, I'm back home in California now. And we don't have a basement, and outside is literally dangerous to your health right now.
Oh no!
Because I'm not anywhere near the fires, but there's like a healthy range of like particulate matter like in the air, and it's something like 5, parts per million or something like that. And yesterday it was like 20 parts per million, and now it's like 50 or something like that. Like the smoke it was really bad today.
So yeah, you need like a bigger, better mask.
I gotta say about this too.
Oh yeah.
Something I learned in 2020 is breathing fucking sucks. We gotta do something about breathing. You know what I mean?
Yes, it does.
We just gotta. It's the worst thing we
Breathing
do.
is overrated.
Yeah, it's the worst thing we do. If we didn't have to do that, we'd be all fucking set. You know?
Yeah.
We gotta do something about that. Some scientist needs to get on some way that we can like take a pill where we don't have to breathe. But we can still live our life and talk in our regular voices, you know? It's just when we're not talking, we don't have to breathe. It's a pill. I'm thinking of it.
It works. You know? Yeah, definitely. You're gonna hack the human body.
What is Silicon Valley doing?
Yeah, we need to move there. I think that we could probably make a lot more money than this podcast.
I just hate breathing. It sucks. It's ruined 2020. Breathing has ruined 2020, right? If you didn't have to breathe, you wouldn't get COVID.
No, absolutely. And I think too, speaking of Silicon Valley, it's funny. So I, like many people, kind of like lost my job. I worked at my university because of COVID. And now that I'm graduated, like I'm looking for like work, especially work that gives me health insurance. So like, I'm kind of like in the interim having to do like the Amazon thing. Like I have this like delivery driver position interview tomorrow, which is basically like show up and we'll look at you and we'll give you a job type thing, which is fine. And it works in the interim, but like I also don't like the fact that I have to like work for Amazon. Like that's the part that I hate. But with any luck, I get to do my dream job. And because I applied for this job out in San Francisco, and I would be working with young, like, so people under the age of 24, LGBTQ youth who like are at risk and stuff, and I'd be working with them. So, and the pay is really good, and it's full benefit, and it's like I'm surrounded by other trans people, so it's awesome.
That's great.
And it'll be it'll be more money than I've ever seen in my life.
Cool.
Yeah, a bunch of $100
shoots.
No,
Yeah.
I'm used to making like maybe like $13K a year, and if I get this job, it'll be like $77K a year starting.
That's
which
gonna
is
be
just, I don't know what to do with that.
jeans. Like, there's some pretty expensive jeans you can buy. When you really get into denim, like, you start looking into jeans and you're like, holy moly, that's an expensive one. You know, I want it though. You know, you start making that
It's
money.
crazy to me, like, yeah. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Like, I mean,
Oh, you'll find
I'd
stuff.
have to live close to the Bay Area, but there's no way I could afford to live in San Francisco.
You're
No.
gonna trust me. You can find a $600 a month apartment making I'm saying.
Okay.
You could find a $600 a month apartment making $77,000 a year, and you will figure out a way to spend all that money. I promise. I mean, maybe you're thriftier than I am as a person, but it seems like every time I make a little more money, I just spend it like right away. Where it's like, now I'm broke again. Like, I'm broke as shit right now for the next like 4 days.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's like I make more than I ever have in my life right now, and broke. Just completely flat fucking broke. I have no money. And it's just like, just irresponsible purchases. You really start to learn how to, once you have a little bit of money, you learn how to spend it very easily. But that's a caution to you, especially now that you're in $100 and $100 shirts. Now that you're living that $100 t-shirt life or
Yeah.
shirt.
You know, say $600 rent in San Francisco, you're going to be staying in a house with 6 other people, probably.
I would do that though. Wouldn't you do
More
that?
like 10.
A dorm. You're going to be living in a dorm.
Yeah, I would do that if I was single.
To get $100 shirts. But then like yeah.
No, they would.
Go
They
ahead.
would be like, see, in San Francisco, you know, people with 6 figures are struggling to live.
Yeah.
You know, like, and that's nuts to me. Like, San Francisco is a nightmare of like the nightmare blend of like neoliberalism and like the Silicon Valley like technocrat. Like, I suppose it makes sense, but I also don't understand how like these insane like tech dipshits that live in the area can also be this bad. Like, I mean, I guess the ineptness goes hand in hand, but these are the same people who like will literally trespass on people's property to steal like unfiltered water because they think like raw water is like good for their brains,
that's
but they
money
just
shit,
keep getting like they keep getting like prion diseases and stuff like that because they keep drinking like this water that's like hyper polluted.
Right.
And yet these same people are in charge of like San Francisco city government.
I'm saying when you start making some cash, you do also your food. All of a sudden, your food bill is like exponentially more. Because I was thinking about how I used to go and buy groceries for me, Katie, and Gwen. $150 for 2 weeks. That's what I would spend to get groceries for the 3 of us for 2 weeks. And way past that. We've blown way past that now. And I'm like, what are we buying that's so different? But what it is like expensive ingredients for everything. It's
Produce.
stupid.
Produce drives it
Yeah,
up.
I buy a lot of more produce than I did back then too. I bought pineapple today.
Yum.
I'm appling it up, you know. Well, good luck. I hope you get the job. If you need a reference,
Me too, Doug.
I'm there. You know.
Yeah, you're employed for us briefly for modding the Street Fight group. So yeah, we can give you a professional reference.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, we will be your
I would
reference.
appreciate that.
Yeah, just let us know what we can do, and we're down to help. Thanks for calling in, Haley.
No problem. You guys have a good one.
You too.
Peace.
It was very fun.
All right. Let's see what this.
77 grand, man. That's a good one.
That's great.
Yeah.
But it is tough. I mean, that was like living in DC with like about that much was what Erica was making. But, you know,
Yes.
I was making 0.
Yeah.
So it was 3 of us. And the stuff just blows you away. I mean, I had real agoraphobia. I didn't want to leave because I was just like, it's going to cost me $30 or $40. I'm going to lose $40 if I leave and do something, like
Yeah.
to pay for trains, to pay for a sandwich while I'm out there, just tolls. Everything was like a fucking
That's what
landmine.
it feels like that whenever you go to one of these major cities. LA's not like this.
Yeah.
But every time you go to one of these major East Coast cities, it's like every minute you're pulling your wallet out.
Yeah.
Every couple of minutes, it's like you're pulling it out, swiping it.
Somebody looks at you straight in the face and they're like, it's $35 to park. And you're like, okay, I guess, if you say so.
It's $12 to drive across this bridge.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You can mail it in if you want. We don't have to. We're not going to ask for it right now. We're sure you're good for it. We took pictures of your plates anyways.
They're $12, you know?
All right, next one. Thanks for calling Street Fight. Who are we talking to tonight?
Hey, what's up, Street Fight? This is Casey in Philly.
What's up, Casey? How's it going?
Yeah, I'm all right. I've been drinking a little, smoking a little. Just finished playing Mario Kart with my partner.
Nice. You win?
Yeah, every time.
That's great. That's great. That's how it would be in my house, too. What's going on tonight, Casey?
Yeah, I just wanted to call in and complain a little bit about how bad my school's been fucking me over the past, 5 months.
That sounds, I mean, it sounds like that's happening a lot. What's going on with yours in particular?
Yeah, so I'm a student at one of the universities in Philly, and I'm going into my senior year, which is very exciting. But when the pandemic started, I was basically kicked out of my dorm with no notice. And they gave me about 2 days to get back to Philly, pack up as much shit as I could, and whatever I couldn't take with me, I had to leave in the room, and they just sort of packaged up and put away for free, which is fine. But if I want it back, I have to pay for it, which is extremely fucked.
What?
Some college shit.
Yeah.
Wow. So it's just in storage, but you're not going to be able to get it back unless you toss them. Is it a decent amount of money?
Yeah, I have to have it shipped to me, even though I'm still in Philly. I don't go back home. I usually live in Philly year round. Yeah, they'll have to ship it to me. Like, I can't even go to the facility and pick it up.
Oh no, you got to get it shipped. Oh.
Yeah.
I don't even like thinking about shipping big things. Sometimes I'll be like looking online at something I want to buy, and it's just like, you know what? I can't do this. I don't get to have this. This is something you got to buy
Too big.
at the store. Yeah, too big. I know when I ship this, it's going to cost $100, you know?
Yeah, for sure. And like, I left probably 3 or 4 medium-sized packing boxes in my dorm, and all of the shit that was in my kitchen that they had to package up for me. So it's going to be a lot of money to have those shipped. So basically, they're holding my stuff hostage.
Are you moving back?
So I was trying to get housing for the year. Over the summer, since March, basically, I've been able to live with my partner, who also lives in Philly, which is great. But it's kind of insecure because we haven't really told the landlord.
Yeah.
Because we don't want to get our fucking rent raised. So I've been pitching in for like half the rent, and it's been okay. Although that's also been a major strain because I also work on campus. I actually work for the housing department. So the department that denied me housing this year is the department I work for, which is awesome. Yeah, I had applied for housing and I got it. I was supposed to have a single room. And, in the past couple of weeks, they changed their minds about bringing students to campus, which is a good idea. Like, they shouldn't have had any of us come back. But I was supposed to work for my department over the summer, which would have given me housing. So after that got canceled, I was stuck here, and I was planning on moving back into my dorm for the semester, and then they canceled that, and they aren't giving me the housing that like I kind of need.
Yeah.
So yeah, not only is my stuff still being held hostage until maybe the spring semester, maybe not, who knows. Yeah, I like told my department that I'm housing insecure, and they told me, fuck you.
Right.
Sucks.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, this sounds like this should be so embarrassing to these universities that have had all of this time to figure this out. And you're just hearing stuff like this everywhere. That, you know, the Ohio State thing on the day that they had to come get testing done, there were 2,000 people standing in line to get tested. 2,000 in a line that stretched all the way past the Oval, and it's just 2,000 people gathered.
Yeah,
and it thunderstormed during it, and there wasn't covering unless you were like in the top like 4 or 5 of them. So people were just standing in the middle of a really pretty crazy thunderstorm.
I didn't know that at all.
Yeah, and like they've already got their first positive, because that's what I was saying. I was like, hey, they're testing people. That's really good, but it's like when you get 2,000 of them together, one of them could possibly test positive for that, you know. And they're maybe, I don't know, you know, again, I don't know how dangerous it is outside, but like they could pass it on to the people immediately around them who could then keep passing it on down the line. You know?
Right.
And it's a real disaster. It should be very embarrassing that these schools aren't able to handle it. They have huge staffs. They have a ton of money, and they seem to have pretty much all failed on every count.
Yeah, my university's endowment is $15 billion. They're building like $150 million dorm so that they can house they can require sophomores to live on campus in the next couple of years. Like, they have all the resources that they need to not only, you know, do things safely and have, you know, at least housing insecure people and international students live on campus. They could probably provide free testing to everybody in Philadelphia. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I agree. I just don't understand how these places where it's supposed to be a bunch of, you know, the people in charge are supposed to be smart too, and it seems like every college 100% dropped the ball on this. And like, even when you say like, well, you know, it was good that they made the decision not to bring students back to campus, but it's like in a lot of cases that just happened within the past, you know, like a week before you're supposed to go back. And like they don't account, again, like you said, for like international students, because I know a lot of them got fucked when the schools closed too. Like, they just didn't even think about people not having somewhere to live when they decided to close these things out. Like, in the panic, they didn't even consider that there were going to be people that were seriously going to be put out from this.
Yeah, and the short notice means that everybody who did buy plane tickets to come back to school, none of them are getting refunds for their tickets, which puts a lot of people at a loss.
Oh, yeah. That you're right, too. Yeah, I mean, the airlines are not giving refunds at this point. They're flying. They're like, we'll fly you. You ain't getting no refund.
Yeah.
But, well, I gotta say, good luck with the school year, and I hope this all gets taken care of for you.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Have a good evening. That's
yeah, you too. Good.
The college shit is really fucked up. It's just the amount of money the students are paying, and just like it just all is so. It seems like so fucked. Like, it's all I've seen is bad.
Yeah, I mean, it's a rotten institution, just like all the other ones in America.
Right.
It's like poorly run, inefficiently run, or for money, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. University of Phoenix didn't have any problems
That's
because they're
true.
online.
They've been doing great.
They've been doing it, you know.
We should be our new sponsor.
University of Phoenix?
Yeah.
Always wanted. I mean,
you always wanted to just pick up an extra degree?
Yeah.
Late
just
at night?
Check it out, you know. Or like Everest Institute.
Yeah. Get serious.
I'm trying to think of what the other ones are, but I used to watch those when I was really broke.
The commercials in the middle of the night?
Yeah, and like you would seriously consider. Did you ever just sit there and be like, "Ah, fuck, I could be a nurse, I guess." You know what I mean?
Yeah. I could do medical billing and transcoding.
Yeah, because I used to just be like, I gotta be able to get. I mean, this would be a much better job.
Yeah,
and like I probably almost I've told the story about almost like deciding to enlist in the military at one point because I just felt like I'm not going anywhere. I don't know what to do, and it's like I don't have much longer that I can do this.
Right,
and it's just like. I probably fell for every one of those.
You want something. You want an easy solution. You don't want to turn your life around. You just want to call this phone number in the middle of the night and get things back to what you deserve.
Exactly.
All right. Next call. Brian's gonna take a break real quick.
I gotta drain the main vein.
Don't say that. Thanks for calling Street Fight. Who are we talking to tonight?
Hey, what's up, guys? I go by Wildman on Twitter.
All right.
I'm out here in Chicago, taking a walk around the neighborhood with the dog, listening to Street Fight. How you doing, Brett?
Doing well. Happy to be taking calls again. We have a lot of people in the queue, so that was nice, and we've had great calls so far. So doing well. I got to finish the Indy 500. I only watched like the first 120 laps, and I'm trying to avoid spoilers. But I'm going to finish the Indy 500 when we're done.
Right. So, do you like Adderall? Are you into Adderall or amphetamines?
Not really. No, just cocaine.
Not really.
Yeah.
Right.
Adderall. I didn't go to college, so I wasn't around for like the Adderall thing, and I don't know. Something about it is just. Something about it is gross to me.
Right. Well, about a month back, I spent like a couple weeks trying to get my hands on a legitimate prescription. I mean, the only time I ever used it before this was, just when some friends would have it. Hey, I got a couple pills. I take them off their hands. Yeah. And for me, it made my work really easy. I do accounting.
Uh-huh.
So, and one thing I learned at my office and with all the clients we work with, it seems like the only people who are able to get their jobs done are the people who are, for better or worse, using drugs to get through the day.
You're right. Yeah.
So for me, weed's not going to cut it,
Yeah.
I can't take a drink either. Amphetamines, it really seems to be the drug of choice for this profession, right? And so I had a bit of a journey trying to get a legal prescription. What ended up happening was I just straight up Googled, okay, ADHD. That's right. I can't concentrate. I need some medication. I got a disease. I need something for it. I Googled it and I went to the first clinic. And he told me right off the bat in the email when I was sending up the consultation, it was going to be $180 per hour with an initial consultation of 2 hours, right?
Whoa.
So I was like, well, whatever. I don't have insurance. I don't have a primary doctor because usually when I read online, like, how do I get Adderall? They usually say, oh, talk to your doctor.
Yeah, you got to build a
I haven't had a doctor, Exactly. I'm not about to walk into, a general practice doctor's office and say, hey, I need amphetamines.
Yeah.
So what I did was I figured I'd bite the bullet. Okay, $180 an hour. That's killer, but whatever. So I had my consultation with the psychiatrist, and we're going through this enormous list of questions, right? And I don't really have any. He was like a psychologist, like a clinical psychologist, somebody who's more into therapy. And I never, although I am fucked up in different degrees, I've never seen a professional, so I don't really know how these things usually go. But by the end of the consultation, he was like, "Well, wow, man, it seems like you're a very, very smart person. You have a very brilliant mind, but your problem is that you don't direct your energy correctly, right?" And I was answered truthfully the whole time. Like,
Sure.
Do you have problems finishing your work? Absolutely. Do you have trouble maintaining deadlines? Absolutely. In work life, home life, across the board. And he ended up giving me this certificate. It's like pretty much saying, like, yeah, he has a severe case of ADHD. And, we would recommend that he go get medication. So I was trying to play it cool with the doctor, when we're discussing my results. And I'm like, because I'm not trying to act like I'm chasing pills or anything. So I tell the doctor, I'm like, geez, would you, if you think medication might help, what would you prescribe me? Could you prescribe me something now? And I kid you not, after 2 hours, the first initial 2 hours, and then the follow-up for another 180, like, this is when he tells me that his office doesn't do prescriptions at all. And he just recommended me to some random family doctor in the area and said, actually, I don't do prescriptions. You're going to have to go to this doctor.
He
to go
probably
get
don't know
prescriptions."
him either. He probably don't know that doctor either. He's just saying, go to this doctor. You know what I mean? Show him your certificate.
I don't know any doctor.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying that
Yeah.
even the guy that did the recommendation probably just looked up your local area,
Exactly. Yeah, because I asked him, like, well, are there any doctors you work with? Because I don't want to, go through this whole process again. And again, it was like the initial consultation was like a 2-hour questionnaire, like, about everything. And again, I was honest.
Did they tell you the stated goals of all of this? Like, was it just to diagnose you?
It was just to diagnose and then figure out, like, a treatment plan, And the treatment plan was going to be, he recommended medication plus the therapy.
But where's the medication coming from?
Yeah, where does he
Exactly.
think that the medication's going to come from?
Right. I figured out by the end of it that he was not concerned with that at all.
Jesus Christ.
But eventually, okay, keep it short. I go to the family doctor. The family doctor recommends me to a psychiatrist. I see a psychiatrist, and he sends me. It's like 15 minutes. Again, his rate was like 120 an hour. Okay, I pay it. I pay it for the full hour. I'm on a call with him for like 15 minutes. He sends me a PDF. He's like a little self-survey quiz. He's like, hey, fill this out. And I'm looking at the PDF, and I figured, okay, these are all the same questions I just answered with the other guy, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going down the list, all 4s and 5s, right? 4, 5, 4, 5. Do you have trouble concentrating, all the time, often, 4 and 5s all the way down? And I send it over to him, and he calls me, and he's like, I wanted to discuss your results. He says, I'm looking at your results, and I believe that it's very important that you immediately go into, like, it was something like some type of inpatient service.
Oh.
And I started freaking out. At first, I thought he was, like, trying to play gotcha, like, you think you need medication? Well, I'm going to refer you to, an inpatient.
Yeah,
Like,
I'll send you straight to the hospital.
Go book yourself in there.
Yeah.
Right. I was like, I was trying to play it cool. I'm like, I'm working with a psychologist, and he's the one who, told me to go to a psychiatrist like yourself to get the medication. I'm actually, I'm doing really good with my psychologist. I don't think I need inpatient. And he goes, well, I read if these numbers are true, then you mark that you are severely suicidal all the time, and that you contemplate suicide all the time. You know? So I accidentally marked 5s on the
Oh.
suicide questions.
Oh no.
Yeah,
Right.
that's not good.
So this guy was about to commit me.
Oh geez.
But end of the day, I just said, I was rushing through it. I thought for sure he wasn't going to give me the prescription, but he gave me the prescription. And I got to say, I know a lot of people are in different places with drugs, but these little amphetamines, right? He prescribed me 20 milligrams a day.
Uh-huh.
I take 5. Maybe it's placebo, maybe it's just a little bump, but it gets the job done. It's like a double cup of coffee,
Yeah, I mean, I've honestly, the thing about it
So-
is like all the Ritalin or Adderall I've had was like very poorly chopped up, and I was like trying to snort it at like 3:30 in the morning. But I imagine that
You're not
actually,
doing spreadsheets while you're doing it, right?
yeah. But I mean, there are some times when I had like some extra Coke from a tour or something, and I did it while I was working, and was like, maybe I do need to get some sort of like medication. Like I do have ADHD, and I've never been diagnosed with it, but I've started to talk to my doctor about it before COVID happened, and that kind of just was a reason for me not to talk to my doctor for a while. So, but that is a lot of fucking money. Like,
it's a lot
just to get there.
I know. I was out almost $500 because I don't have insurance. And then when I went to the Walgreens, I was like, to get my prescription, they said, okay, it's going to be $80 per bottle. And I was thinking, wait, what? That sounds like a lot. I don't know why. I know, Bernie Sanders, he says prescriptions are expensive, but, I never really luckily I've never needed any prescriptions. So I asked her, I'm like, what about the generic option? I was thinking there'd be like some type of great value. I want great value amphetamines. And she's like, that is the generic option at $80 a bottle. The non-generic option was $500 a bottle.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, they really. I mean, I can't imagine trying to pay for the prescriptions I'm on without insurance.
And you're right though. This is what's expected. My wife had to go to the hospital after taking too much of her prescription Adderall because she was trying to meet a deadline in college.
Yeah.
And it's very popular and very overly used by people just to like work 60 hours a week.
Yeah. Yeah, to get the job done, man. But
yeah, it's exactly. I don't have any other choices. Like if it was up to me, my personality doesn't need stimulants. Maybe once in a rare night.
Yeah.
But Brett, you say that you could see yourself as fitting the profile of ADHD, and I don't mean to be offensive to anyone, but I do think like a lot of these diseases, things that they pathologize, it is definitely based on like what the current system expects of you. So just like that kid who's like not paying attention in class, that's a pathology. You have a disease, you need a medication. And then likewise, it's like, well, you know what, man? Maybe the society is diseased. That's what I'm thinking.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm down with that.
I'm with you.
Wild man speaks the truth.
Yeah. I'm the same way. It's like, I just don't see a problem with using something to get by, I guess.
Yeah.
Well,
and
I wouldn't need anything if the pressure I don't know if I would need anything without pressure. Like if I just lived like a life where money didn't matter and I didn't need to get any, I don't know where I'd be. I would think my anxiety would be more manageable in that case.
But, one more link with the ADHD, something I was thinking about, and like using amphetamines to treat it.
Uh-huh.
My history is a little shaky, but if I remember correctly, I think it was like the U.S. military or Nazi Germany who began developing these amphetamines to use them on their soldiers, right?
Yeah, Battlestar Galactica did it too.
Make them a little wild, and yeah, and it's kind of perverse that they made their way into working people's systems, and I think that in my experience, my parents never really took me to the doctor to, poke and prod me, figure out what's wrong with me. But I think that a lot of real high-strung families, like maybe I'm characterizing them wrong, but it seems to me like a lot of like middle-class, like well-to-do families, if little Johnny is not performing exactly how the mom and dad like expect them to, in their schoolwork or whatever else. They think it's something wrong with them that needs to be corrected, and they do go for those pills. And I think that I know people in my professional life who have just had an amphetamine or an Adderall prescription like since they were young, and they really are high-performing people. Like it really is like a cheat code, like a super boost of sorts. And, you know, earlier the call, like, you know, talking about San Francisco, like, and all these different tech ideas they have, I would not, like, from my experience, like, working in offices and, like, seeing, like, who's running the show and, like, who's really invested in the work, I would not be surprised if all these people who are making our lives hell are geeked up on amphetamine.
I am not, or benzos at the end of the night. Maybe both.
Yeah, landing gear.
Right, because I had a client that made a comment to one of her like her sister, saying something along the lines of like, "Oh, I wasn't feeling good, so I took a Xanax earlier today, or earlier yesterday, and then when I got home last night, I took a Xanax. No, I took an Adderall in the morning. I took a Xanax at night.
Yeah, I think that's
so, like,
pretty
and
common.
These are like really well-to-do people, very, very rich, and you know they're the boss in this situation.
Yeah.
And like they themselves are like medicating up and down, up and down.
Yeah, they're wasted
So, yeah.
a lot of times at work. They're like trashed. I mean, taking a Xanax at work is...
That's why I'm so good at running this business. I'm trashed all the time.
True. That's true. Well, thanks for calling in.
All right, boys.
We appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Great show. I love it. Shout out to everyone in the Street Fight community.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
Well, I'm going to shout them out too, probably at the end of the show, though.
All right, have a good night.
Sorry, I didn't mean to steal your thunder, Brian.
No,
All
I
right, take it easy.
I
Bye.
wish people wouldn't do that before I got the chance.
Oh, wow.
I'm kidding.
Wild man stepping on toes.
Wild man stepped on my toes, man.
All right. Okay, we got some calls. Let's, we got time. You got time? You got overtime?
We got about 20 minutes.
We took last week off. Hey, what's going on?
Hey, how y'all doing tonight?
We're doing great. How are you?
Oh, good. This is Rusty Hazard in Phoenix. I called about a month ago. My voice was a lot more gravelly after a BLM protest. Just been playing catch up with y'all's podcast. I'm fucking drained from work and whatnot. The guy, I was just listening intently to the guy before me because I have ADHD, and I've done the Adderall thing, and I'm sober now like 6 years, and I had to get off of it because I was too aggressive, and now I'm worn out from just doing the capitalism, and I'm like, fuck, I want to get back on this goddamn thing to actually do shit on him.
Yeah.
And, so it's just funny, that guy, I'm like, fuck, he's talking about my life right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's a hard thing. It's like, it's a fine line. I think, you know, it can be helpful probably in smaller amounts and not like an everyday thing, I suppose. But there is just like, I don't know, man, Brian, I would just say that you seem to really gravitate towards anything that'll make you feel bad or miserable.
Really?
Yeah. Like the first thing you did when we couldn't do live shows was said, the only thing I want to do right now is do a live show.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true.
I don't know. You see, you seem to get, you're like wired to get something out of it, like to just be
miserable.
Yeah. Every week I see you, it's the worse than the week before. You pitch it like that.
Oh, I know. It's not that bad. I just complain a lot.
Sure.
Like,
So
I'm just
that's
a
what I mean. You
complainer.
like to complain about everything.
I love it.
So that's what you're searching for.
Every week feels fine to me. Every week. But I complain on the radio, though.
Yeah, say if we played those intros.
That's what I'm saying. I do on the radio, but when I'm out, like in my normal everyday life, I'm generally not that miserable. I'm just like, you know, saying what grinds my gears,
Mhm.
you know,
Mhm.
when I'm on the air. But most of the time, it's like whatever, you know?
Sure.
But I do feel like I'm in a catastrophe all the time.
Yeah, that's what I was referring to.
Yeah. I'm just terrified. I have a lot of anxiety. It's
Yeah.
weird. I can get it down, but they don't. The stuff that makes it kind of dissipate, I don't have. Can't get.
Yeah.
So it doesn't like. I try not to like. I'm like, ugh. I'm so annoyed by that.
Yeah.
So what's up? Rusty?
No, just I had a couple of things. What first? A T-shirt idea. I don't know if Brian knows off the top of his head the exact date that the subway incident happened with the robbery, and his boss was a dick to him. But if you know that date, you could make like a Street Fight logo with the Subway logo and that date, and just say "Never Forget." I think that'd be a funny T-shirt for like the avid listeners, you know.
Yeah.
Because you mentioned it a couple weeks ago. But the other, oh my God, when you all were talking about the is it the Air Force, the Navy band?
Yeah, Max Impact. That's my shit.
Do you know like what like the term Max Impact, any kind of like street value to that, or like any other connotation to it?
No.
I think.
Okay, so like, go ahead.
No, you go. If you know, I'd like to hear it.
So you know what poppers are, right?
Poppers? Yeah.
Okay, so like there's this new drug within like mostly like the gay scene, and it's pretty much just a spray, and it's like an ethyl nitrate or some bullshit.
Amyl
and,
nitrate.
It's called Max Impact. So like it's pretty much you spray it on a cloth and you give it to somebody that you're you're having sex with and whatever. It kind of loosens them up like poppers. So the whole time you guys are talking about this pro-military thing called Max Impact, that's the image I have the whole time of just like they don't know that like that's what it is.
I gotta tell you, it's much cooler than when you actually watch Max Impact perform. They are like the least cool group of people I've ever seen make rock music.
Oh no, I just think so much of it splice their music videos where it's just some like guys getting down with each other.
Okay.
Taking those party drugs.
Yeah, maybe we can make a music video for them. Use their music to maybe a little bit more exciting video experience for Max Impact.
That'd be funny. I mean, it's mostly old people watching their kids in the vid. Like the comments are all like, "That's my son at 3 minutes and 42 seconds coming out of the water," and you're like, "Oh, impressive, cool." Max Impact rules.
You were talking about I think it was 2 weeks ago, the quote unquote spiritual trademark people who have the cognitive dissonance of like also being like Trump supporters or just like Democratic liberal. And I don't know, man, just being in like 12-step rooms as a leftist, I make it work for me, but it's just bizarre to me how you can like have this message of like altruism and spirituality and love, and yet like support these vile things. And it's just like a whole culmination and like persona and whatever, and it's just like I see it every day, and I just don't know how. I think Brett hit on it like during that bit, but it's like I had like an own epiphany, because you kind of go through stuff in your head, like I mean, being an addict and being a fucking leftist, you get like down and depressed and suicidal and all this other stuff, and you're like, I wish I was, either black pilled or just not woke or this and that, but like, I don't know. I just see people who are just vile, and then they don't know how to process their feelings or process like the bigger picture at hand. So like, there's nothing to be coveted by these people that seem like they're in the dark or whatever. Like it's just a sad state of affairs for anybody to just be in support of any kind of like this capitalist, like just brutalist landscape that we're in. So it fucking sucks, man. It sucks. But I know you guys got some calls and whatever. I don't want to take too much of your time. I love you guys so much, and thanks for letting me bullshit.
Yeah, well, thanks for calling. We love you too, Rusty.
Yeah. You know what the
bye guys
piece, the others, kind of fill in the picture. I just thought about this is people that do charity, like this is from a liberal place, and I'm sure from also Republicans do more charity than anybody else, but that you kind of get this thing where you think you categorize people as dangerous and criminals and dirty and all of this stuff, and you say you care and love for them, but when it comes to your real life, you're like, oh, I have to worry about my own safety. Like I have to treat every homeless person like a threat.
Yes.
You know, even though like the interactions they're having with them was like a soup kitchen or something, they just think that they've been doing crime all day and they're coming in for, you know, a meal and they're going to go do crime all night, you know?
Yeah, you're right about that. It is weird, like how dark that I mean, basically the people that have bought into politics, like American politics, the Democrats and the Republicans, I think there's like a real darkness.
Yeah.
In that like on all, like the same darkness.
Yeah.
All the way around, they just rationalize their like feelings in different ways, where one likes to say things that make people feel good and the other one likes to yell at people and make them feel bad, you know?
Yeah, well, I'm even having trouble now. Like we had a little mini like socially distanced get together and people are speaking highly of Barack Obama again, because it's just like you're not allowed to say anything bad about him because Trump is apparently the worst thing that's ever happened. And like, you know, Obama didn't do anything about the police problem when he was president and it was happening. Like he did his I don't like they just want everything to be back to normal. All the people that were with us with the George Floyd and were sharing all of that abolish the police, they didn't mean a lick of it. They wanted the clout.
Yeah.
They wanted an Instagram picture in front of a mural outside of City Hall, and they're going to say that Biden's not so bad and the Democrats aren't so bad, you know.
Yeah, they were sharing a thing yesterday. The last time I was on Twitter was like Democrats make things better or something shit like that, and it was just like, no, they don't do fucking anything.
Yeah,
they're I mean, yeah, I was in that conversation when we were kind of talking about
they pick different people to leave behind is what they do.
If Trump in 10 years, like, is it gonna bother Trump that he still can't hang out with celebrities and isn't actually considered this dignified guy?
Yeah.
And like a lot of people weren't so confident that they were kind of confident that he would get out of there and be this dignified man, but I sort of feel like he's not. Like he's lost that whole, like it's all gone. And like he doesn't get to hang out with celebrities anymore, because if a celebrity hangs out with him,
yeah,
they're roundly like, you know, they're Scott Baio.
Yeah.
You know what I
can't
mean?
do it. Yeah.
It's just not like a star power thing to be in Trump, you know? And
Ryan Seacrest doesn't want to hang out with Trump.
Yeah,
doesn't want to be seen.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and like, I mean, even with that last election, Jimmy Fallon like tussling his hair is like he had to come back and be like, I didn't like know what I was doing. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like he had to even apologize, and it's like, yeah, I think until Trump dies, like it's gonna be in the back of his mind that he used to have everything, and now he can go stand in an arena and a bunch of like people that he has utter contempt for can cheer for him while he talks about how they clog the toilets and shit, you know?
Yeah.
That's all he has left, and that's probably not at all what he envisioned if he got to be the president.
Right.
You know?
Right. All right, we got 2 more to go.
Let's get them. No jump ins. We got about 10 more minutes.
Thanks for calling Street Fight. Who are we talking to tonight?
Hey.
210, you're good. You're still
how's
in.
it going?
Good. How about yourself?
Doing well, thanks. My name's Jordan. I live in Bozeman, Montana.
Second Jordan.
I am thinking about quitting my job and moving back to my hometown and being like a bartender.
Okay.
Right on.
But the pay would be like $13 less an hour.
Okay.
That's a big one.
And I can't decide if that's a good move right now or not. I've been at my current job like 5 years.
Okay.
I'm like a supervisor now. Sorry, I'm pretty nervous.
No, you're fine.
No,
you're doing
you're
great.
good. You're doing great.
Coming through clear.
So what I do at work right now, I deal with like a lot of water and fire damage, but I also clean up like forensic stuff. So like
No.
homicides and suicides and stuff.
Sure.
So my job's like
my job's pretty stressful, to say the least, I guess. But I think jumping down to like $10 an hour at a job that seems more insecure right now with all of the Corona stuff going on seems like a bad move. I don't know.
I mean, if you're looking at, here's the thing, if you're looking at this as like monetarily or as like, I'm going to be able to do this and my life is not, I'm not going to lose like my quality of life or anything like that. And you're just looking at it in that kind of way, then it's probably not the best decision. But the thing is, I had a job that paid me a lot of money. Not a lot of money, but more than I thought I had the capability of making, and would have kept raising that up every year had I wanted to stay. And I made the decision to quit and make no money and have a drastic reduction in, like, our quality of life went way down, and it did that for fucking, more than 5 years. Like, we really struggled really hard. But I tend to feel like when you come out on the other end of that kind of thing, it makes you, you
Makes
like
buy
end up
$100 shirts.
What?
It makes you buy $100 shirts.
Well, no,
I'm just joking.
It's not even a money thing. You come out on the other end and you're going to be happier with what you do. You know, you're not going to, maybe you aren't going to be a bartender in 5 or 6 years. Like, maybe you will go get the job as a bartender and you meet somebody at the bar that knows something else and you find this thing you're very passionate about and you get to do for a living. When I quit the cable company to go to school, like, my main thought was like, I got to try to be an academic. I got to do really well because my, I want to prove that I can. And I did.
Yeah, you want to do. You were thinking that was going to be your career. You were going to focus on doing academic as a career.
Yeah. So, and then like as I did it, I was like, oh, this is okay. Then I switched to social work, and then switched to this after that, or teaching, and then this after that. Like, these were all things that at the time felt like really right things to make the move into. Yeah. And, like, I have to say that, like, I came out on the other end of that. If I didn't go through all that shit, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be able, I don't think I'd be able to do this show in the way that I do. And I wouldn't have been able to give my whole self over to it if I hadn't taken that leap and just did it. Now, I would wait until things start opening a little more. But I think, like, if you're in a miserable job and the choice is, like, because you got to think of what you're really saying. If you don't go, what you're really saying is, like, this is the job. This is what I'm going to do, and this is what I'm going to have. And if you're unhappy with that, then, you don't want to do anything for the rest of your life that makes you unhappy.
Yeah, no, the job I have now, I like the guys I work with a lot. I've tried to get them, organized and unionized, but some of them are kind of, big Trump guys, so they're hard to deal with on like that kind of stuff. But I think it's just kind of a dangerous time to jump. Go ahead, sorry.
I mean, I would say honestly, really, if you're in a shit place, one thing that can get you out of it is a plan. Where right now you're going to work, you're feeling miserable, you think it's never going to end, there's nothing else you can do. So if you can get a plan to move in 6 months or 3 months, and just maybe sock away some money, I'd save as much money. The extra income you have now over the next 6 months, might get you a couple $1,000 or $1,000 or something to float once you get home. But moving back home and doing the bartender thing isn't the end of your journey. It's not like you're signing up for the rest of your life. So if you, some people this is the decision people make. A lot of people are like, I like $22 an hour and I'm never going back. I'm going to figure out how to go to this job and I'm going to do that. And that's what I do. And I go to Sam's Club, and I have a whatever makes them happy. They do it for the stress of the job. But if you can downshift into a lower lifestyle and be okay with it and make it work, it's from there you'll have extra free time, right? You won't be devoting all of your life to that career. You'll have time to plot and scheme about what you want to do and get into projects and hang around places and do things that actually interest you, and that's where you're going to find your opportunities or what kind of a job you can specialize in to get back to that $20 an hour.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, I agree.
The place I got the. Go ahead.
No, what he said. He's totally right. It's like it's kind of what I was saying in that, like, you don't like making the jump is the hardest fucking thing in the world to do. And what Brett said about making a plan and sticking to it is a way that makes sure that you make the jump without a ton of risk. There's risk, right?
Yeah.
But like if in 6 months, I have a feeling people are going to be filling bars. And if you planned it out and had a little bit set aside and had all your stuff figured out, I really do believe that, like, I mean, you could end up bartending at a fancy restaurant. You know what I mean? And making all that money again, but you're doing it as a bartender, not as something you don't want to be.
Right.
And there's so much hustling. There's a lot of hustling tips on this show. So just pay attention to the hustlers.
Where it gets tricky, though, kind of running out of time to make a plan. I need to make this decision like before September 1st.
I would do it.
I'm supposed to start the. Okay.
I mean, that's just, but don't like do it because I said I would do it. But I'm 100% like, I will always advise that. I mean, it happened with Brett's wife and she's doing what she wants to do. It's happened with most of the friends that I have, and in the end came out good.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you got to just understand that you're not going to die because of it. Like you're going to get there and you're going to make a plan. You'll scramble and you'll have to utilize a lot of skills, but you got to keep your head on a swivel and just make the transition happen. And it will, as long as you focus on it, making it work. I think you can do it on September 1st. Like, might as well.
Cool.
All right.
I think I'm going to do it. Appreciate you guys' time.
Keep us posted.
You guys have a good night.
Yeah, thanks for calling. Keep us posted.
I'll check back in. Thank you, guys.
I mean, yeah, being stuck at hometown, man. I mean, there's at least like a buddies that you can call and say, like, what are you up to? Like, can you know where I can get some stuff? Can I sell weed for you?
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's the, being home and working at a bar is a job where you meet a ton of people. Yeah. And like they're going to bring different things to your life, and things are going to come in and out of your life, and you're going to go through phases that seem like the most difficult thing in the world. And like, that's going to happen in your life, your whole life anyway, So you might as well just be like, I guess if I have to fucking figure out a way to scrounge up money to have a Whopper in the end, I'm gonna do well. I can get out of this. I know that I have the skill to get somewhere. You know?
Yeah, and that was like
cleaning up crime scenes.
Tough job.
Yeah,
tough. All right, last call to end them all. Thanks for calling Street Fight. Who are we talking tonight?
Hey, it's I guess anonymous tonight because I'm going to be talking about UT Austin.
But can I say it's anonymous?
It's another college call.
Okay.
What? I'm not the anonymous.
Like the Guy Fawkes mask, anonymous. We thought you were a celeb.
Yeah, I know. If I were, I'd be able to like act on like the bullshit that UT's pulling, but obviously that's not a case for now.
Okay, what state's it in?
UT.
Oh,
what?
UT, Tennessee?
Yeah, UT Austin. This is Texas.
Austin.
Sorry, yeah.
Okay, I don't know any of
Yeah,
the
they are-
2 letters.
Hook 'em horns?
I guess it makes sense. Yeah, absolutely, dude. Well, maybe not hook 'em because here's what's going on. UT is just like it's about to be a crazy COVID situation there. I'm not attending in person this semester, but I went to visit some friends for the weekend right before school, and just like being there and being in that environment stressed me the hell out. And oh my God, they're gonna have so much COVID in not too long.
Yeah, that's how it felt when I was on campus the other day.
OSU had a sorority that had
Uh-huh.
20 some confirmed cases.
And yeah, people.
That's exactly what's happening. It's because they do their rush first. They do their rush like the whole week before school starts. And so all these girls are mingling. They have to go to every single sorority. And then, all the girls are hanging out with themselves. It's just terrible.
And also, they're just, people still, like, this hasn't even become an argument, like, about asymptomatic people. Like, that still should, like, nobody's talking about that. Nobody understands that a third of people that are testing positive, like, show no signs of having it at all. So there's plenty of healthy seeming kids coming to class that have just as much of a viral load.
They're just carrying it.
They're just carrying it, yeah.
Oh, 100%. And yeah. And I mean, the university's like not stopping it either.
Are they testing?
Well, yeah, so kind of here's sorry.
Are they testing?
For now, they have the tests that test within 2 to 3 days, and in about 2 weeks, that's when they say they'll have the 15-minute test. But if you ask me, so I'm in San Antonio, and so we had like our whole own outbreak here, and during that time, I actually got it, not from going out or anything, but during that time, you could not get like hardly any tests. I ended up having to wait like 3 or 4 days for my result after I found a place with a test. But if there were quick tests, you had to wait like 3 hours for one.
Yeah.
And so I figured that by the time that those quick tests get received, they're going to make it to where you can't take them unless you have like 4 symptoms.
Yeah, that's exactly the wrong thing, is that if they want to be aggressive about it, they should have a whole team of people that randomly test people throughout the day that are just walking on fucking campus, and it's all registered to your phones, and it has to be traced. I mean, like, I'm getting out of the anxiety of it. Like, I'm living my life very secluded, but at the same time, what I'm observing from like Wuhan, China, that did that outdoor electric music festival, was that all they did was test people constantly. Like, when you left the neighborhood, you would just stop and someone would shove a fucking swab up your nose. They would sign a number to it, and then you could go do your thing. And then they'd catch every single person that had it and isolate them. And we could do the similar thing, but there's no way to make money doing that. Like, you're going to cost your school a lot of money.
There's no way to make money, and then also there's plenty of people who would just call that like authoritarianism and just couldn't allow that to be part of their lives.
Yeah, that's the thing too, is like, the Wuhan situation, they said they had 67 days of intense lockdown, and that would have maybe started a civil war of some sorts. I mean, probably not, because they're all cowards, but there would have been a lot more acts of random violence. There would have been activated, like, lone wolf gun people and militia assholes too. I bet.
Yeah. So anyway, here's basically like why it's about to be really bad, and kind of like how UT plays just the biggest role in this. So first and foremost, UT this entire summer allowed people to sign up for classes without kind of making their big decision. I mean, it's like all other colleges. They're teasing that they're going to be open, but then so they can get people to sign up, and then they kind of shut it off. But in UT's case, they don't actually make it to where it's all online. They make it to where basically everybody who signed up for classes, it turns out most of them, like 3 of their classes or 4 of their classes are online, and they have 1 in person. So they still have to be at UT. And, if they want to live in a dorm, they buy a dorm or off-campus housing or whatever. And so they do that, and they get you to go there, be part of spreading. Their dorms, they should be offering only 1-person rooms for probably the price of just, double, right? Because, they shouldn't be putting 2 people in a room. But they're doing that in these shoebox-sized rooms. And, the biggest issue is the Greek life off campus, obviously. It's obviously, like, the worst thing because they've just been partying, like, all day, every day.
Yeah.
There's a UT epidemiologist who made this kind of, like, prediction, right? He said that about 0.5% of kids who go, and there are 23,000 kids going to Austin in this little area in the middle of downtown. He says that 0.5% of those people have it, right? And so if you have a meeting of 10 people, there's like a 4% chance that you're going to have it. And then a meeting of 100, there's a 40% chance that one person there at least has it and is just spreading it. And it's like, if you're partying every night, you know, when you're trying to invite as many girls or guys or whatever to your house as you can, you're just fucking, you're the Petri dish. You are it.
Yeah.
And the university isn't stopping it.
They've been moving. So what I've noticed on campus is that people have moved their TVs out to the front porch, and they're just all partying outside, from what I can tell. But the bars are all
These
packed.
ones they're just staying inside still.
Yeah. No, it's
The
Texas.
bars, I
It's-
haven't been to 6th Street, but I bet the bars are packed.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, until the hospitals are overflowing, they're just going to keep pushing through it. I don't know what's going to stop them at this point.
Well-
And it's really, I'm getting really disappointed in the way that everybody's everybody was like 2020's canceled, and now I feel like everybody is kind of like, well, let's get some fun in to wrap things up. And the winter's going to be way more indoor activities. I just saw, Brian, AMC theaters, you can buy tickets. They put one seat in between you, but I can go see the New Mutants next week or whatever.
That's terrible.
But that's
horrible, because you can still turn to your left and like cough on the guy.
But one of the annoying,
non-binary pal.
The annoying thing about like the kid dialogue is that you have all of these like concerned mommy blog naturalists, people that are like talking about the development of a child, and it's like, I think our kids are getting some pretty interesting development that we never got as kids. Like the developing doesn't stop just because they didn't go to the brainwashing academy. Like they're developing in a way and understanding the world in a different scenario than we ever did. And I don't know, I'm not concerned for my kid at like for missing a year of school.
Yeah, I'm not
compared
really.
to what I've seen in other places. This isn't the end of the world. This isn't going to wipe out everybody. We're handling it badly, but there are places that, you know, have accomplished, you know, what we're looking for. I don't know.
Well, okay. Well, sorry. I just like another thing I was going to say about like the feeling of West Campus and campus is that West Campus is where all the Greek life stuff is. There's this feeling that everybody knows it's going to happen and pretty much everybody's going to get it or whatever. But because of that, there's almost like this weird, like, I don't know, I can't characterize it, but it's like if you knew 9/11 was going to happen tomorrow and you couldn't stop it, it's real somber, but it's like already accepted of it, you know?
I agree. I think, you know, I've said this before, but there's probably been a lot of joke coughing going on and a bunch of coronavirus parties on campus already. You know, obviously they're not posting them online or whatever, but there's a lot of
it's all like under the table invite.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've already seen secret screenings of movies and stuff, and you know, invite only parties happening.
Yeah, I mean, it's
the
college.
invite only parties are yeah, it's college. Yeah, and well, so I think that's part of the hugest issue is because everybody thinks it is college, and everybody kind of has the understanding that, oh, you know, COVID won't kill me, or we're all teens, we're hardly going to get sick or whatever. Because of that, I think everybody's like okay with getting it, which is an issue because you hear all those stories about the people who have already gotten it, who just like, you know, they have these long-term complications, you know, and we're about to have an entire generation of like everybody who went to college is about to get whatever those long-term complications are. And I was having a conversation with one person, and I mean, he brought up that like, it's kind of like how there's this whole like generation of people who have shingles in them because they got chicken pox.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that, but like we don't know what shingles is going to be. It could be terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, the lasting stuff for COVID also is like, I mean, that's just a lottery that you don't want to play. Some of the stuff like sterilization was one of the possibilities for younger folks.
I would love that.
Yeah, that would be cheap. Give that to the old guys. Yeah, and the lung issues, and you know, seeing like, you know, people that seemingly healthy people get a bad case of it is like, why tangle with it? And really, it is a matter of it's a matter of leadership, and you know, the schools are responsible for that entire environment there. You know, the people are paying for them to be in charge of everything.
Yeah, and they have like legal jurisdiction over, you know, a lot of that area that, you know, they claim that they can't really do anything about because it's like it's all, you know, students acting their own way, right? And the university can't step over that. You know, just the issue in my eyes is that, like, in the spring, for, you know, unrelated reasons to COVID, I think they added, like 7 cop cars or something to West Campus. It's not that big of an area. They added a bunch of police just because of, you know, faux safety concerns. And, I mean, look, when I went, I didn't see a single homeless person on West Campus, and there used to be plenty, you know, or houseless. You know, it just made me feel terrible. It's like, that's why we have the cops there. It's not because people are getting stabbed once a month or whatever, you know, like they keep trying to blame it on.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
Thanks for calling.
Yeah, we appreciate it. Yeah, the school stuff is interesting. It's good, and it's happening, and, you know, it's affecting a lot of people right now. So we appreciate the input.
All right. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah, have a great one.
Great.
Peace.
You really helped me through the summer, actually. It's a great summer.
Good.
Podcast. Anyway.
I'm glad. They helped me, too. I listened to them in the middle of the night.
Y'all have a good night.
In the middle of the night. Have a great one. Yeah. Somebody did ask if we still listen to podcasts, which made me laugh in the group. They were like, "Hey, are y'all too big for podcasts now?"
Not right this second. Like, I'm not listening to any podcasts, but I have favorite podcasts.
Yeah.
Yeah. You listen to podcasts all the time, don't
I
you?
listen to them all the time.
Yeah. Me too. I mean, the only reason I'm not listening to them is because I have to listen to shock jocks right now. I'm basically, all of my time is dedicated to listening to terrible people say awful things. But
the one I have been listening to a lot of your Kickstarter Sucks and a lot of Block Party, because I know those are good guys, but they don't talk about coronavirus, and they don't talk about, like, the government fucking us all over. It's very much like fun and lighthearted, what I'm looking for.
Those are 2 every week listens for me.
But I also started listening to Vanguard Army, which is Posada's Trap Gods podcast, and Lil the Trill. They just started it up, but the first few episodes have been good. I like to hear it, and I like the attitude, the style. Like, it's just more along, you know, it's somebody I can talk to. The podcast, I like people that I feel like I can hang out with, you know.
Yeah. I like also the ones, I mean, you know, Everything Elite and the Bad Wrestling podcast, and those are 2 shows that I love. The Trillbillies, obviously.
I listen to The Read every single week. I love The Read. I listen sometimes to Dumb Bitch Media. It's funny. And Doughboys all the time. District Sentinel Radio, they're 20 minutes. That got me back into the news because I can listen to 20-minute episodes now, you know?
Yeah, here is it's only Patreon one. But it's called Festival Schmestival, and it's the 2 minutes to midnight, 2 minutes to late night guys, having people put their own festivals together, music festivals,
That's
by
fun.
using their recently played. Your first 10 bands are your recently played playlist, and your second 10 bands you get to pick. And, like, you get to you get 1 hologram, 1 reunion, 1 full album.
Wow, that's really fun.
And it's like, I'm trying to bully my way onto it, actually. But that's a really fun podcast to listen to. And Minion Death Cult and Garbage Brain University are both good.
I listen to Minion Death Cult every week. I'm trying to look for embarrassing ones. I listen to Throwing Shades still every single week.
All I have is like post wrestling or Voices of Wrestling. I listen to the Voices of Wrestling and post wrestling podcasts, but like I don't have super embarrassing things unless you consider wrestling podcasts embarrassing. Then I have a lot of those. But also, again, like I have been listening to Opie and Anthony and Loveline for 2 entire weeks. That's it. That's all I hear. It's just a real joy. It's like really, it's not bad. You know what it is? It's like the first 2 or 3 days, I'm like, this fucking sucks. I hate doing this. And then after 2 or 3 days, it's like, I don't need to listen to anything.
We are
else. I'll
sorry,
just
but
listen
the
to
show
this
has
stuff,
ended.
You know,
Goodbye.
I'm burning through it. And I think I'm going to get to a point where I've seen all the audio for a lot of these shows.
Really? You
on
just nothing
YouTube.
new?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for listening. We had a wonderful call on the show this week. Everybody was awesome. Thanks for calling in and telling your stories. We appreciate it as always. If you want to support what we do, head over to Street Fight or patreon.com/Street Fight Radio. You can get bonus materials every month and also get updates from us, things that we're doing. It's all over there in patreon.com/Street Fight Radio. And it's a way to keep the show rolling so we can pay more artists and people to hook up to work on the zines. We can pay Jason and Jake and Katie and everybody to help out. So it's a family affair, and we appreciate all the support that we get from all y'all. So we'll see you on Wednesday.